It'll be a 2-point win for the Sacramento Kings. The final score is 116-114. And the Sacramento Kings here in Minnesota have won for a 5th consecutive time. Will gladly take it after the struggles on the road and the fact that in the 4 losses they had been outscored by 20 points a game. A lot of heroes in this one and a lot of gritty effort and accomplishment on the part of the Kings.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Yes, yes, yes. The first game of the post-De'Aaron Fox era is a W. The Sacramento Kings take down the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, you talk about great playoff matchups. I think that this would be, first of all, it feels like the Minnesota Timberwolves, I've made this joke before, that the Minnesota Timberwolves have only played good teams. Now, they did just come off a loss to the Wizards, but it feels like every single game, Anthony Edwards is in a close game every single game. That's what it feels like. And they're just fighting for their lives every single night. It was the same last night. You had no Julius Randle for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but still a very capable team because Naz Reid, again, there might be a story somewhere that the Kings were supposed to draft Naz Reid because Naz Reid goes off every time he faces the Sacramento Kings. You had Naz Reid doing his thing, Jaden McDaniels doing his thing as well. So this was a game that the Kings easily could have lost, especially being on the road and with a Timberwolves team who had been playing really well but scuffled against the Wizards and really wanted to get that taste out of their mouth. But I look at this game, and there is so much to take away from the Sacramento Kings. And obviously, it's only one game. But now the Kings move to, 4-0 this season without De'Aaron Fox. Okay, they have, or under Doug Christie, and they have the win against the Celtics, the win against the Warriors, and now they get this W against the Timberwolves as well. Does that mean they're going to be better without De'Aaron Fox? I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that this team is, based on where they were going to be if they didn't make a move or whatever the case is, they're going to be pretty similar. Right? They're going to be pretty similar. And part of that is because, look, and this is not to come down De'Aaron Fox's road. We had media members admit it to our face or to our ears last night that De'Aaron Fox was coasting. We can just put it out in the air now that he's gone. De'Aaron Fox was coasting these last couple games when he returned from injury. Now, he was injured. Okay, his butt did hurt from that fall. All right, that's all true as well. But it put the team in a really difficult position where it was, what De'Aaron Fox are we getting tonight? Are you going to be hyper aggressive? Are you going to be the number one option? What are we going to do? You don't have to worry about that anymore. All right. So the Kings get the W, but what does it all mean? That's what we're going to be breaking down. We have box score watching. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. What do the Kings actually want from an ownership perspective? And I got to be really careful how I handle that. And Kyle, you're saying there's another trade? What do we have going on?
There is a trade that has just broken. I don't know if we really need the breaking news.
Okay, well, now.
When it breaks.
Well.
Just, we make the joke. The Philadelphia 76ers are trading Caleb Martin
no. He was connected to
the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
In exchange for Quentin Grimes and Philadelphia's second-round pick.
Wow. So Caleb Martin, a guy who recently was connected to the Sacramento Kings and not connected anymore. So he's headed to Dallas as Dallas looks to add another swingman and add some length in there. I really like Quentin Grimes. I feel like he's kind of plateaued a bit. I thought I saw something in him with the New York Knicks, but yeah, I feel like maybe the Mavericks thought you'd get more from him with Luka not being out, and he's just kind of hit a ceiling.
I was tempted to say this in the original tweet because I cannot stress enough how incredible this is. The Philadelphia 76ers are trading 2023 Eastern Conference Finals most valuable player, Caleb Martin.
Okay.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
How did Caleb Martin win most valuable player of the Eastern Conference Finals? And now 2 years later, goes to Philly. Mm-hmm. Philly says no thank you. Goes to Dallas. I'm sure Dallas will say no thank you.
But that's that Heat culture, if you want to call it that. All those dudes from that year, every year, these guys, they do some things, they get paid, and then they turn back into pumpkins.
Oh, I get that. Well, except Max Strus. Max Strus is killing it in Cleveland.
That's
but
true.
Other than that, yeah, you're right. There's a difference between being Gabe Vincent and being MVP of the reason Boston doesn't have two championships is because of Caleb Martin, which is so strange. But
gotta get hot. Some people get hot sometimes.
I would have loved to have had him on the Sacramento Kings. Anyways, let us resume the Stiles Espresso.
So thank you for that, Kyle. And as we're asking the question, what does it all mean? Right, the Kings moved to 25 and 24, a great chance to sneak into that 6th seed. You know how I feel about the Lakers. We'll see what happens. It looks like Luka might be with them on Saturday, but that 5 seed is I'm changing my expectations. I'm just looking at that 6 seed, hoping the Clippers cool off and some of the teams, the Timberwolves. That's a huge game from the Kings because the Timberwolves were starting to run away, and you have to keep them within arm's length. So great game from the Kings. Still some of the same issues. It's the same team. Right. And that's why De'Aaron Fox and evaluating De'Aaron Fox is so difficult because it's the same team. DeMar DeRozan, 33 points. All right. Is he going to be able to do that every night? He's 35 years old. Keegan Murray bringing the ball up the floor, doing some different things. He had 19. Keegan, to me, is going to understand the opportunity and understand the assignment, as the kids say. Domantas Sabonis, 14 points, dealing with Rudy Gobert. That's a tough matchup, right? Only had 11 rebounds. Kind of a quiet night for Domantas Sabonis, but they were able to power through. Keon Ellis had 13. Keon finally saw his 3-point shot come back to him. It had been gone for the last couple games here. He goes for 3 for 3 from 3-point land. Malik Monk, 26. It's going to be a lot of Malik Monk a lot of the time. He took 23 shots. DeMar DeRozan took 25 shots. Zach LaVine's going to help a lot, because that's a lot from those two guys, okay? They nearly combined for 50 shots. Devin Carter, 8 minutes, 2 points. Well, we'll get into Devin Carter, man. Look, he's looking more project-y than I maybe would have liked. Trey Lyles, 5 points. Trey, he does go 1 for 3. He's doing some other things. He had 8 rebounds. I would say a decent game from Trey. And plus minus for one game can't not necessarily tell the whole story all the time, but Trey being a 0 kind of tells the whole story. He did some good things, could have done some great things, but also didn't do that many bad things. Isaac Jones back in the rotation, 4 points. He played nearly 12 minutes, and Dougie McBuckets, again, a game with 6 minutes and no shots put up. But before we're going to break down the box score more so in about 5 minutes here, but I did want to start off with some Stiles Espresso. Thank you, Kyle. I'm gonna take a sip right now. Let's get into this.
Ready to cook.
I'm ready to cook now. So last night, I kept trying to think about what didn't work with this last version of the Sacramento Kings. And ultimately, this is what I came up with. You had a number one that's not really a number one or doesn't want to be a number one, and a number two who wasn't your second scoring option in Domantas Sabonis, but is hyper productive. But to me, this all stems from De'Aaron Fox and the admitting of other media members, right? So that we know we're not crazy, that De'Aaron Fox was coasting. The issue is, even when there wasn't a contract situation and his fingers were healthy, a la last season, we had some of these same questions. Hey, De'Aaron, you want to be a number one today? Hey, De'Aaron, do you want to set the tone today? You bring in DeMar DeRozan, and it was a lot of the same thing. When you look at the championship teams around the league, okay, they have their number one, and they go with them. As I look at what could have been with these Kings, we can argue about the moves that they could have made to be more competitive, sure. But every championship team has that dude. And we kind of knew they were that dude because they didn't always have the help, but still looked like that dude. In the end, De'Aaron wanted something that the Kings could have only provided with perfect decision-making. Hitting on every single draft pick, making better decisions, and then spending money that maybe they weren't willing to spend right now. And the Kings needed something that De'Aaron Fox isn't, generational. And there's no problem with that. I believe it was still a successful relationship and both sides grew apart. But when you're a small market and you quote unquote hit on a guy, you have to hit to a level that De'Aaron Fox isn't. And he all but admitted that to us when he decided to go to San Antonio and be a number 2. That was your Style Espresso. Coming up on the other side, we get into more box score watching. How did the Kings pull this off? Where does this land them in the Western Conference? And how are you feeling about your Sacramento Kings? Kyle, open them dang phone lines up. 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win. Unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion, persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
And again, this is no slight to De'Aaron, right? But he's in San Antonio now. And you look at the past champions from the and people can say whatever you want about the Celtics or Jason Tatum, but the Celtics, the Warriors, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Bucks, they all have a dude. So essentially, to be a championship contender, you need a dude. And De'Aaron, I think, understood that. But in Sacramento, I would say that success is relative. De'Aaron came from the University of Kentucky when they were competing for championships every single season. There were blue chip recruits all around him, 5-star prospects all around him. He comes to Sacramento and says, I want to keep winning, right? And you're hoping to hit on a guy. And in these small markets, you have to hit to the level that is generational. That's how small markets win championships. That's how the Milwaukee Bucks won a championship. That's what it is. And we can sit here and say the Golden State Warriors is a large market now, but I don't think it was considered that before Steph Curry got there. Now, it's not easy to be generational, but when De'Aaron sat there and said, I want to compete for championships, I think he was essentially admitting, I understand that I'm not really that guy. The problem is there's no way for Sacramento to get that guy if they don't draft him, which is why the Luka thing was so sad for a lot of Kings fans. So once De'Aaron said that, a lot of these small markets, they don't compete for championships. So once De'Aaron said that, the writing was on the wall because De'Aaron, this is Sacramento. You can't be a number 2 here. That's not how this works. You got DeMar DeRozan at 35 years old and we threw a parade. That's not how any of this works.
Well, I mean, I can take it one step further, even beyond the small market thing. And I understand your point that small market teams usually can't attract MVP caliber players to play for their team. So at least if you're in a big market, you have a puncher's chance of getting a star player. But I remember this stat when the conference finals were this year. When Dallas played against Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals last year, it was the first time there was a conference finals without an MVP in the series in like 40 years or 50 years. Like the entire existence of the NBA, you have to have an MVP caliber player or a player who's close to that and a perfect situation around them in order to compete for a championship. And it's fine that Sacramento wasn't competing for a championship. I don't think that's the only barometer of success, but obviously San Antonio, we all think is going to compete for a championship as long as they have Victor Wembanyama and competence around him.
Right. Well, and that's why it's not necessarily about market size. It's about who do you have, right? And San Antonio, another smaller market, but they have a generational talent. Kyle, we have Yosi Goslin joining us from thirdapron.com at 11. So let's open up the phone lines now and get to some calls. 916-339-1140. How are you feeling about the Sacramento Kings? So the 916 is texting, Allen, what are these other media sources confirming that Fox has been coasting? I really need to read those because I've been saying this for years. So just to be clear, Sean Cunningham was on and I do not want to misquote Sean Cunningham. Sean Cunningham was on our airwaves yesterday. You can go check it out on YouTube or on the Sacktown Sports app. Towards the end of the conversation, it was mostly about he did say that it felt like De'Aaron Fox had been coasting these last couple games, not a year's thing, just during this weird limbo phase where De'Aaron was probably going to get moved. He was coming back from injury, and that's what I believe Sean was referring to when we were talking about it. Not that he had been doing it for years, okay? So let me just make that clear. Now, for me, that is me, myself, saying that I'm watching De'Aaron Fox, and we didn't get – if there is a mad – answer me this, and I know Luka just got moved. Is there any conversation about a mad Luka? Is there any conversation about a mad Shea? Is there any conversation about a mad enter other elite talent, mad Anthony Edwards? These dudes come out ready to go. So the fact that there was you don't want to make him mad or he'll play at an elite level, well, why don't you just play at an elite level all the time, right? So again, this is why I'm okay with the relationship ending, because De'Aaron did not want to be a number one. And the Sacramento Kings, based on market size and based on how the NBA works, needed De'Aaron to be a number one. That's it. That's really, to me, all the other, Rich Paul this, what, none of that matters. He is going off to be a number two, and we wish him well. But this thing was never going to work unless they hit on every single draft pick and unless they spent a bunch of money that they didn't really feel like spending all the time. And on top of that, they had to play at a higher level. You're talking about, and somebody said this on the Sack Chat, how do you think the locker room felt, right? You recruit DeMar DeRozan, okay? You recruit DeMar DeRozan. You're in December. You've stunk. You've been playing well, but kind of a part of that stink, right? Hashtag Jaden Ivey and the Pistons. The team hasn't even fully been healthy, and you put out a vague you have a meeting with the front office and this vague conversation to where it's, well, we just need to be better. So then De'Aaron goes back into the locker room, and look, DeMar DeRozan has played with a lot of players. Is DeMar maybe somewhere thinking, does De'Aaron know that there's levels to this? DeMar got bounced out of Toronto for Kawhi Leonard. They won a championship, okay? And he's sitting there thinking, so De'Aaron is kind of who is he calling trash? And I had this conversation last week. About it. So we wish De'Aaron the best, but I'm not going to do this revisionist history. And I get it. A lot of people are sad. I think as far as the Kings are concerned, did they do everything they could have to keep him? Only they can answer that question. And being in this market, I believe they should have. But if De'Aaron wanted to, quote unquote, compete for championships, okay, he probably looked in the mirror and said, I need to be a number two. And he was not going to be a number two in Sacramento. That's it. That's it. And somebody, Xavier on the Sack chat, is saying, why does Allen stay hating? LOL. I don't. Maybe that's hating. You can call it hating if you want, but I just think it's the truth. Xavier, tell me this: who is the best player that De'Aaron Fox is better than? Is De'Aaron Fox better than any championship won? Give me one.
Than any championship won?
Right now. Do you consider Anthony Edwards a championship one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how I'm doing this, because I don't think he is better than any.
Well, no, but there's only like 7 of those, and De'Aaron Fox.
Right, but that's why I'm saying I'm okay with the relationship ending, because De'Aaron wanted something that Sacramento couldn't give him. He wanted to win at a high level, but be a number 2, and that was not going to be possible out here.
Yeah, I get that, but it's like you said, there's layers to it more than just it's never that one thing though, right? Mm-hmm. Because De'Aaron Fox could have been the number 2 on this team. I've been saying for a year plus Domantas Sabonis is the best player on the team, but it's a unique situation.
It's the scoring situation. That and I do think, to that point, that makes this unique, right? Jokic has the ability to score at a number 1 level when he so chooses. Domantas Sabonis doesn't have that bag.
I think, though, the Kings had the ability to bring in a scorer better than De'Aaron Fox. The problem is there's only about 10 to 20 of those in the league, and that player was never available to the Sacramento Kings to make that risky swing or make that all-in move to make De'Aaron Fox a quote-unquote number 3. That they absolutely had the money, draft picks, ability to do that if that
but none
player
of these guys are
available.
But none of these guys are. I think that it and I think Kings fans did this too. They wanted a perfect player, right? Kuzma, for what the Kings were going to be able to get, nobody was perfect.
Well, yeah, but
because like, give me a name.
Well, that player was never I mean, we could go down the list. So you said like the number 1s on a championship team. There's like 7 of those.
Yes.
Then we can go down to the James Hardens. We can go down to the Paul Georges. We can go to the Jaylen Browns.
Right.
We can go to, there's all the all-stars this year. Evan Mobley, we talked about before. Paolo Banchero. Like, we can go down the list of guys, but none of those players were reasonably available. The only one I could point to and say it was ever an option was, well, no, I'll say 2. The only 2 were Paul George and Jimmy Butler. And maybe the Larry Markkinen thing, but honestly, I don't think Larry Markkinen's as good of a player as De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
So those players were in theory available, but again, you had the whole league vying for their services, and honestly, none of those were the perfect player, because you can make an argument De'Aaron Fox is a better option than Paul George. So I just think it doesn't matter if Sacramento could have added another player or not to compete for a championship.
Yeah.
It's just hard when De'Aaron Fox is that player who is honestly maybe the best draft pick of the last 20 years for the Sacramento Kings and is going to have his jersey retired. The fact that they just traded him like that instead of, doing another subsequent move, even if it didn't work, that part kind of stinks, and I think is why I was really sad yesterday, and I think why a lot of Kings fans kind of rallied around that. Yeah, he wasn't a true championship number 1, but he's still our guy, and you traded our guy.
Right, but he didn't want to be the guy. That's what I'm saying.
But he was still our guy, and so that makes people feel a certain way when he gets traded. Basketball-wise, who knows? This trade could end up working out for Sacramento.
And look,
even though they got less than what De'Aaron Fox is worth.
And when you see what happens with De'Aaron in San Antonio, we will see. Why do you want to be, and we got to get to the other side. Why do you want to be a number 2? Because number 1s can't take nights off, right? Very rarely is, when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander took a night off when they were up by 30 against the Kings. But it is Shai, go, and the Jalen Williams of the world will go with you. The Chet Holmgrens of the world will go with you. Now, I get it. They're not a bunch of generational guys floating around. That's why I think that De'Aaron moving on is less about the issues that the Sacramento Kings had and some of the mistakes that they made, and more about the fact that De'Aaron is looking around saying, yeah, I mean, look, we've all had those moments. Right? We've all had those moments. All right, on the other side, let's keep the conversation going. Way over on time. We open up the phone lines, 916-339-1140. All the texters out there, try to try to boil down your text. Sometimes it's hard for me to read these paragraphs. And the Sack Chatters, shout out to the Sack Chatters. Let's keep this thing rolling. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh, my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Malik Monk, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Roseville Auto Mall.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center. For your Tuesday, it is going to be wet and windy during the day, so plan for it. Maybe a little extra time for that morning drive as well. As we head through the afternoon, we will see periods of light to moderate rainfall. Temperatures today in the mid-50s. It'll be breezy with gusts occasionally up to 45 miles per hour. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
There's only one place where you'll find thousands of top brand vehicles, 17 dealers, and a friendly staff. Find the perfect ride tailored to fit your budget. Dream big and save even more during the President's Day sale at the Roseville Auto Mall. Driven to be the best.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends over at Jiffy Lube, and they want to show some customer love this month with their February oil change deals you can find online today. Visit jiffylube.com and find a service center near you to see these sweetheart deals, get it, during the month of February. Here's what you do. Drive into savings at jiffylube.com today and let yourself save in the month of February. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
It was 1879 when the first President's Day was established, and it's been a holiday ever since. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. I'm guessing when the Keys family opened the first Naturewood Home Furnishing store in 1948, a President's Day sale was not top of the mind. But the family probably celebrated the holiday with a picnic and a big slice of cherry pie. The store name Naturewood was selected to reflect the quality of the wood furniture for sale. And that focus on quality continues today with brands like FlexSteel, Trailway, Stickley, Fusion Designs, Stanton, and many, many more. The Naturewood Home Furnishings President's Day sale is the perfect time for you to find the right accent piece for your living room, a new bed for your bedroom, or to completely refurnish your entire home. See all the fine furniture and accessories on sale with Naturewood's President's Day sale. Find that perfect piece of furniture that's new today and filled with memories for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With over 500 new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. as we break down all things De'Aaron Fox. Kind of got on a roll there. 30 minutes. Yosi Gozlin joins us of the third cap, the thirdapron.com. He joins us to break down what the Kings can do next. That's in 30 minutes. We went through the Kings game last night, and there was clearly a chip on everyone's shoulder. I don't even know if it was a chip. I think it was more of a cloud being gone, right? The Kings, during this limbo phase with De'Aaron Fox, literally were playing like the weather today. It was just rainy and cloudy and nasty, and you don't want to go outside. You don't really want to do anything, right? And last night, it just felt, hey, maybe we will be better with De'Aaron. Maybe we won't be. But we know that everybody here wants to be here, right? DeMar, we assume, still wants to be here. Okay, I mean, we know about the money situation with DeMar. Is there a team, and how the Kings may be slightly overpaid? Is there a team that would be interested in DeMar? Now he's got to move again. He probably isn't. If he's anything like me, he's not even done unpacking yet. That's how long it takes me to unpack when I move somewhere. So does DeMar want to leave? I don't know. That's be the only question mark. Domantas Sabonis has his guy at coach. Okay, Malik Monk gets the keys to the castle. Keegan Murray gets an opportunity as well. So the new core, as we're calling, and Zach LaVine is going to be coming after being disrespected for a whole season, gets to come to a team that has liked him for years. So this is first team all chip on the shoulder. This is first team all Ruffles. First team all Frito-Lay. That's what we're dealing with right now with the Sacramento Kings. Does that mean they're going to win every game? No. And not to mention Doug Christie just wakes up with a chip on his shoulder. So does that mean that this team is more talented without De'Aaron? I'm not saying that. But now they have a direction. Everything shifted. When really, looking back on it, and I was watching the pregame show with Deuce and Mo, really everything shifted when De'Aaron didn't sign. The fact that Shams, and it's funny to do the revisionist history thing, because the fact that if everybody remembers, right, and if I'm not mistaken, there was this weird situation in the offseason where we kind of heard about De'Aaron saying no twice, right? There was like an initial extension or an initial report of the extension, and he turned it down. But then randomly, right before the season, Shams came out with it again. And I remember being on the show thinking, didn't we already know that De'Aaron said no? So at the time, we thought, yeah, Supermax, De'Aaron's got a chance, not a big deal. But that was kind of the first tea leaf on what was coming. Then when you had, and that's what I think is difficult about this, the team was not playing well. They stunk, okay? Now, De'Aaron has some blood on his hands in why they stunk, but to have that conversation in December, it was weird. It was a little premature, in my opinion. So now you look back on it, and for as much as we've had people on the show that have connections to De'Aaron Fox that are well-sourced, that say that he wanted to stay, that's what he said in Instagram, I think the writing was on the wall. And where I've fallen with this thing is that the writing was on the wall into this season. I think it was already cooked this season, which is funny because he did help to recruit DeMar. So essentially, looking at his camp, hey, this team has already messed up multiple times. They continue to draft guards. Okay, the Devin Carter thing happens, which I don't think helped. Khalil Ware was staring you in the face, and I liked him. I liked Dalton Connect. I liked a lot of guys. Okay, and I know all of you did too. Tristan da Silva, right? The Magic have been stinking, so we'll see what happens tomorrow night. They lose to the Warriors last night, but Tristan da Silva, just something different. They stick to their guns, and they get Devin Carter. Okay, now De'Aaron's thinking, okay, so you get Devin Carter, right? This whole weird podium gate thing happened. You were kind of tripping on extending Coach Mike Brown. Let's see what happens with DeMar DeRozan. The season starts. DeMar has been banged up. Sabonis was banged up. Malik's banged up. And quickly, let's not forget now, what did De'Aaron say that I thought was crazy? We don't control our own destiny. Wasn't that in December? Wasn't that, I'm forgetting the timeline here. It was November or December where De'Aaron said, we don't control our own destiny. And I said, admitting that you don't control your own destiny before January is insane. It's insane. So you look at things like that, and I feel like this season, De'Aaron maybe thought, let's see what happens with DeRozan. But going into this season, it was going to be a tall task for the Kings. And I think the Kings realized that, which is why they were okay with moving on from Mike Brown. That's how I think this whole thing went down. They had that, remember, they fired Mike Brown after that conversation. So that conversation did not go too well. That's how I'm understanding this. So I don't think that when De'Aaron says, I wanted to stay in Sacramento forever, I don't think he's lying. What I do think is that going into this season, the writing was already on the wall. Kyle, you have a confirmation? I saw you looking up something. Yeah. So
I can't find it, but it was sometime before Mike got fired.
Exactly. We don't control our own destiny. So again, we had a lot of calls yesterday. We had a lot of initial feelings, and we're going to move forward here. And I'm very excited for Zach LaVine. We have a, and Div is on Sack Chat saying it was during the losing streak. Which one? We have a glass half full segment. We have a glass half empty segment coming up. How to look at this thing optimistically and not so optimistically. And the Kings aren't done. I'm telling you, if they go out and get a wing, they're not really in a different – they're in a similar situation as to them keeping De'Aaron Fox and still getting that wing. If they don't get the wing, then they're in, I guess, a similar situation than they were if they had just waited it out with De'Aaron.
Well, and they're also now trying to rebuild an entire offense because Malik Monk's now your point guard. You're figuring out how LaVine and DeRozan are going to play together again in this new Sabonis offense where he's kind of the point center. So, yeah, I mean, you're numbers-wise, you're dropping in about the same number of points, right? Like Zach LaVine's averaging like 24 a game on 17 shots.
Right.
Fox was averaging like 24 a game on 19 shots. So you're dropping kind of the same production.
And declining.
Yeah, sure. And declining. But it's not just drop the points in and see how it goes. They are going to be learning how to play with each other again in a new look offense. And I think the nice thing is that they don't have to build it up from scratch because a lot of what Doug is saying is just roll the ball out there and go a lot of the times. But it's not just go, we're going to replace the production. Now, if they end up with a Cam Johnson or a John Collins, then it's like, I don't know how the roster is going to look at the end of it. So then we kind of got to look and see how that plays out. Because then you've got 4 new rotation players. If you throw in Isaac Jones now being a constant part of the rotation. And
maybe that changes too. Yeah, Ricky Nolan says if the Kings get Cam Johnson, who the hell is coming off the bench? I will welcome that conversation and that quote-unquote problem if that happens, Ricky. I'll tell you that much. 916-329-1140. Let's get to some of these calls before the break. TC wants to be part of the convo. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
What's up, big dog?
Hey.
Hey, so it's like this, bro. Simple. It ain't. This ain't talking, down on Fox or nothing, bro. What's in the best? We already said all that, right? But we moving on. You know what I'm saying? Just like we said, the team is gonna be straight with Monk running the show. It's a better overall team. Everybody's seeing it. You're not blind. It was even when we was going on that 7-game win streak when Fox was out there. Like the team is better, bro. Without dude. I know nobody want to say it. I say it, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get on here and talk about it, but I'm going to be honest, right? At the same time, on the flip side, right, the team was over it, bro. The whole up and down, you show up, you got to be mad, you too laid back. Okay, well, bro, you can go be laid back in San Antonio. We want a dog. Like Monk is a dog. We've been looking for dogs. We've been looking for true leaders, natural leaders, bro. Not a person that we got to keep telling you to be a leader, but you just want to be a second guy. I want to be a kickback guy. Okay, well, you can be a kickback guy somewhere else, bro, because we need a real true leader. That's all I got, dog.
Thanks for the call, TC. Yeah, and I think that it's the turning on and off. It's the switch, right? Are you good enough to flip the switch? And that's what he was doing, and that ticks a lot of people off. Let's get to GP wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, GP? What you got for us?
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Hey.
Show, like always.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, me and my brother's been talking about this for a while. Fox seemed checked out a long time ago. His body language, his vibes, and to be honest, I think he was rubbing off on the rest of the team, basically being a Debbie Downer, man. Like, just you've seen how they played without him. Every game they played without him, the energy, the intensity was there. He comes in and everybody all of a sudden just shoulders down, and you know what I mean? It just rubbed me the wrong way. How you guys feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you this much, GP, and thanks for the call. Yeah, if you played in high school, right, and you get word that the best player on the team said, we need better pieces because these dudes trash if we want to compete. I'm thinking, who are you talking about, brother? Say it with your chest then. You know, and look, I'm not going to do I don't want to do the sports psychology thing, but you look at Look, Sabonis bigger than basketball. That's all he had to say. And I know they'll be. I don't know what type of relationship Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox had to keep it 1,000 with you. Are you talking about me? Are you talking about how I play my game? I don't know. And I know DeMar. He helped recruit DeMar. DeMar's thinking, dog, you just brought me in, and now you on this. Keegan Murray. We know they were close. Malik Monk. That's his brother from Kentucky. So you talking about some bench pieces? Let's go out here and win these games. We're playing 35-plus minutes a game, losing to some bad teams. What are you on right now? So I think that the team understood that De'Aaron was maybe 1 foot out the door. That's what it is. The more I think about it, I mean, again, he wanted something that he could not have in Sacramento. De'Aaron, we need you to, and that's what Mike Brown was trying to tell him, his boy. We need you to take us to the promised land. De'Aaron said, I want to ride shotgun. I mess with Robin. I'm not trying to be Batman. And that's okay. Go be Victor Wembanyama's Batman or Robin. It's all good. It's all good because you couldn't do that out here. And we understood that. The Kings, what they've done, not perfect at all. But you also understood that you're not that elite number one. And at least kudos to De'Aaron for understanding that. All right, let's get to some of the audio from last night's game. Christie's Cuts featuring Malik Monk on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like saddling up and chasing down.
Look at that sweet moolah!
That big old cash cow.
Look at all that money!
File with TaxSlayer Simply Free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers. See taxslayer.com for eligibility.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you from my good friends at American Energy. Look, it's already cold outside. It's only going to get colder. American Energy wants to help you stay warm and make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of the $49 tune-up inspection. Normally $119, $49 right now, and that includes a full safety and duct inspection. And check it out. If your system's over 10 years old, and I'll bet it is, the tune-up, yeah, it's free. It's free from a company that's been in business since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ Better Business Bureau. Check their Yelp, check their Google reviews. Don't take my word for it. Give them a call right now. $50 off your first recommended repair. If you need a new furnace, half off the price of a new unit. Check them out at theaeway.com and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry,
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884. Is your garage door stuck in the winter blues? Well, February is the perfect time to give it some love. Jason Ross here to tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. And they're here to keep your garage door running smoothly. This February, they're spreading the love with their Sweetheart Special, $150 off a garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Now, the experts at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento provide fast, reliable service that's always on time and always done right. From squeaky hinges to full door replacements, they've got you covered. So don't let your garage door be the heartbreaker this season. Visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com for your free estimate. You can get in touch with them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, opening doors to your home and your hearts this February and all throughout the year. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Yosi Goslin joins us in about 15 minutes from the thirdapron.com. Any cap questions that you may have? You know, Brendan helped us out yesterday as far as the TPE and some of the things that the Kings are going to be able to do. We're going to try to put it into layman's terms to figure out how much flexibility the Kings have. So that's coming up in 15 minutes. I'm really excited because y'all know I'm very honest, right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a capologist and say that I understand everything that goes on. So we're going to learn together. And that's coming up in 15 minutes. The 916, when I was kind of going off on De'Aaron Fox and him going to the front office, or his camp going to the front office. The 916, did Fox actually use the word trash, or are you putting words in his mouth? Well, I guess I have to be clear. Yes, I was paraphrasing. Well, actually, I don't know. But yes, I was paraphrasing. I don't know and don't think he used the word trash. And I would hope that you understood or understand what I was trying to say. Thank you, 916. As we get to Christie's cuts and what Doug Christie had to say after the W, Jaden McDaniels with 22 points. That dude is going to be good, man. And, you know, he defends at a high level. So, and that's why I think this game was, look, Julius Randle didn't play, who normally kills the Kings. But from a defensive perspective, to have Rudy Gobert obviously play, Jaden McDaniels play, Anthony Edwards, who is a, I don't know if he's an elite two-way player yet, but as far as he wants to be one, right? Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another guy that can defend. This is a good defensive team. So a perfect opportunity to see what the Kings can do. And they didn't even have, okay, the Timberwolves didn't have Julius Randle. Well, the Kings didn't have Zach LaVine, right? So for DeMar DeRozan to still drop 33, Malik Monk to drop 26, who are now going to be your high-volume shooters and scorers without De'Aaron Fox, I thought that showed a lot. Naz Reid, I'm so sick of Naz Reid. Naz Reid with 30. He played 40 minutes. He was 5 of 9 from three-point range, and he still hasn't left the ground on a jump shot, but it doesn't matter. That was the funniest-looking step back I've ever seen, to do a step back to what looked like a free throw shot, and it goes in. It goes in for Naz Reid. Rudy Gobert, 19 points. When's the last time Rudy Gobert dropped 19? That was just a size thing, AO, with 13 rebounds. Anthony Edwards, quiet night. And I think that's how the Kings got out of Dodge. Anthony Edwards, 7 for 21, 3 of 10 from three-point lane. He was just chucking. And one of those threes was at the end of the game when it didn't matter. So really, he made 2 threes that mattered, and he had 21 points. Mike Conley, you know, I was in a couple Timberwolves spaces, and a lot of Timberwolves fans just saying the Mike Conley thing, that's probably where they go first. Maybe Rob Dillingham's going to be that dude. I really like Rob Dillingham. He reminds me of Malik Monk. Defensively, it's going to be tough for him. He's not tall, and he doesn't got a lot of meat on them bones, but he can score the basketball. I don't know if Rob Dillingham is the answer, but the Mike Conley thing is probably, he did have 9 assists. It's probably almost over for Mike Conley from a starter position. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, quiet night. He can get hot from 3, but not last night. 0 of 3, he had 2 points. Luka Garza felt like he played more than nearly 5 minutes. He had 4 points, and he only had 1 rebound. Jalen Clark actually showed me some things. Young player, 18 minutes, 7 points. So, no time from Jay Crowder, no time from Mason Jones or Alex Len, and the Kings able to get it done. They take care of business, and let's hear what Doug Christie had to say about it in Christie's Cuts.
Super, super confident. Sometimes it'll be a post. Sometimes it'll be a side pick and roll. Tonight it was in the middle of the floor, trying to find the proper matchup and the switch. And he just has an innate ability to take his time, get a guy where he wants him, and at the right moment explode and be able to knock down the shot. And a couple of times they were contesting, and he still passed it to guys, and we made plays. So coming down the stretch, we got guys that are not only capable but willing, because not everybody's willing, and they're willing to put themselves on the line. So big time game from DeMar, and Malik is he's a special one. Domas playing with 5 fouls. Keegan's ability to knock down shots. The bench was, and I told them they were great, because in many times the bench, you can scoring a lot of different things, but their energy, their support, their togetherness helped get us over the hump. He's had so much growth since I've met him. Just period in his life and in his basketball life, just watching him grow as a young man. I'm super, super proud of him. And then the opportunity presents itself for him to run a ball club. And like I told him, I'm gonna live with some of your mistakes, but learning how to ebb and flow inside of a game and get your teammates involved, but still be aggressive, it's a fine line. And I thought that he did a great job at it tonight. And if he continues to learn in that capacity, his game will continue to grow, which says a lot, because he has so much game. The ability to manipulate the game as far as drawing double teams, they're already blitzing him, getting off the ball with on-time, on-target passes. He knocks down shots. He gets to the basket. He knocks down free throws. He knocks down clutch free throws. He's just a hell of a player.
Christie's Cuts, great stuff from Doug Christie. And we also have some audio from Malik Monk. And Malik is going to break down that was Doug Christie talking about Malik Monk. So we already got to that. Great stuff there from Doug Christie. And to me, look, Doug Christie, he's got to get some type of award for just dealing with all this BS. That's what I don't know what that award is. Just the drama award, right? He's not part of the drama.
I'll tell you what the award is. A contract.
Yeah.
That should be his award.
Right. Hey, you had to deal with this. Here's a contract,
Let's
brother.
not send him to Orlando at the end of this season to go be an assistant coach on someone else's bench, right?
There's no way. There's no way.
Oh, I would assume not, but is he going to be the coach full time? I don't know if he's gotten a representative sample. It's just whether or not the people in power want him to be the full-time coach or not.
I think that is probably the question they are spending the least amount of time on. I'm telling you,
this is the thing that sucks. How does he go if they do bring in someone else? How do you go from being the guy to then go back to being an assistant coach? It's not going to work that way.
No. Because that's why it's not going to happen, because they don't want to lose Doug Christie. Look, there were rumblings that they wanted Doug Christie. They've wanted Doug Christie for a while. There is no way. All right. I'm not going to, we can't talk about betting, but I am very confident that Doug Christie will be the head coach next season.
Okay, so that's his award for dealing with all this drama. Because when it was drama-free, they were winning a lot.
Right.
In fact, they were winning more than like any team in the league other than Oklahoma City. And now the drama started, and they're 2-4 on the road trip. And hey, we're back in the 10 seed.
Yeah, and we'll get into the Magic game tomorrow, the Magic preview. But they have been struggling. struggling. So can the Kings take advantage? And it'll be interesting because that's the first game with Zach LaVine. And congrats to our winners yesterday that will be in the building for that game. Yosi Gozlin joins us on the other side of the thirdapron.com. Any cap questions, we try to get them answered. The TPE, the MEE, the GED, all of those questions we try to answer on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
The sewer system. It's probably the last thing on your mind, and that's okay. Because at the Sacramento Area Sewer District, it's our first priority. As the region's largest sewer utility, we own and maintain thousands of miles of sewer pipe. And our job is to get to your sewer problem before it interrupts your life. So whether you've got a slow drain or a backup, call us first, day or night. The Sacramento Area Sewer District. It's a dirty job, but we're happy to do it.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
Please, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
Reeling in the refund.
limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHD1 Sacramento. KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Whoa, I'm too zoomed in. Give me a sec.
Yep, there it is.
One hour down, 3 to go on a gloomy Tuesday, but the sun will come out at some point. Maybe not even this week, but at some point the sun will come back out. And Yosi Goslin, NBA salary cap expert for the thirdapron.com, is going to help us see the sun with De'Aaron Fox now gone. Yosi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Allen.
Let's start here, Yosi. From a financial standpoint, does it feel like the Kings are in a better position post De'Aaron Fox trade, the same position, or maybe even worse?
I think short term they're worse because they traded Fox, who's on a max contract but a smaller tier one, for LaVine, who's making much more. So in the short term, not so great. They didn't really open up that much more flexibility. They have a little bit more space below the tax, so they could still do something else ahead of the trade deadline where they maybe bring in another high-paid player. But they didn't get that much flexibility. Now, on the other side, with Fox not wanting to extend or whatever it is, they don't have to give him a max contract anymore, which would be much more than whatever Zach LaVine's getting right now and what he'll probably get on his next deal. So right now, LaVine's making mid-40s. I think next year it'll get to like closer to 50 million. And then he's got a player option. So something I'm keeping in the back of my mind is maybe this summer he'll be extension eligible. Maybe he takes a deal like what Rudy Gobert just did, declines that player option, get something cheaper, but then you add more years onto it. So he's still making more money, but he's helping out the Kings in the short term. So that's really the thing. Like short term, I don't think they really got any really good flexibility. But if he does that type of extension, then it makes a lot more sense for the Kings.
Talking to Yosi Goslin, NBA salary cap expert for the thirdapron.com. Yosi, can you explain, because I was trying to figure this out, right? Because the whole time it was keep Kevin Huerter because of his salary, to be able to match that for a Cam Johnson deal, something like that. Can you explain the Kings' willingness to part with Kevin Huerter and how that connects to the 16 million traded player exception that they now have, and why they felt like they could move on for Kevin and not lose too much?
So I think the main reason they moved on from Kevin was mainly they wanted to get off his money for next year, but then also they're trading Fox for a more expensive player in LaVine. He makes like 10 million more than Fox, so they had to include a little bit more to make the money work. But but then they structured it in a way where it's like two separate trades. They're trading Fox and Jordan McLaughlin for LaVine. That works. So then they're essentially trading Kevin Huerter for nothing. So that's why they have a $16 million trade exception. Now, it's also worth noting that they've had several other exceptions. They have like these other trade exceptions that are worth around like $5 million each, about 3 of them.
Right.
And you still have the full mid-level exception. That's worth $12.8 million. They could use that also as a trade exception before the trade deadline. So they can use those exceptions, but realistically, most of them are going to go expired because it's just unlikely that they're going to use all of them. It would take them well into the tax, and they're not going to want to be taxpayers this year, probably not even next year, unless they're really a true contender. But as far as what they can do next, yeah, you can't use any of those exceptions to get a Cam Johnson or a John Collins. They're too short. They need you need an exception at that player salary or more to absorb him in.
Got it.
But they could still do something, maybe with DeRozan, or maybe a combination of Trey Lyles and Devin Carter to try to bring in one of those guys. The math might not be totally sound on there. I'm just saying a couple things, but yeah, at this point, if they're going to bring in a Cam Johnson or a John Collins, one of those other guys they've been linked to, it'll probably have to involve DeRozan at this point.
Wow. Talking to Yosi Goslin, NBA salary cap expert for the thirdapron.com. Yosi, based on the Kings' finances, how can they approach the buyout market and some of the players that might be available there?
They've always been able to sign all the players, so they saved some money, but they were already below the first apron, which is the threshold. Team, as long as you're below that, you can sign any player that had a high salary above the mid-level exception. So they'll be in a position to go after any player that gets waived. It'll be mostly just a matter of, is there an interest from these players to join the Kings?
Talking to Yosi Gozlin, NBA salary cap expert for the Third Apron.com. Yosi, how do you view the willingness for certain teams to go into the luxury tax? A lot of times we hear fans say, Vivek needs to go into the luxury tax. And kind of how I've broken it down is, well, a lot of these teams that go into the luxury tax, they're going into the luxury tax because they think they have a championship pedigree team, right? Or they feel like they're a step away, and going into the luxury tax can get them there. You don't really go into the luxury tax to hopefully get to the second round. That might happen, but that's not your intention. How do you view whether or not certain teams should go into the luxury tax and when it's that time to have that conversation?
So aside from the money mainly just being ownership's money, there is a little bit of other negative kind of penalties of being in the tax, mainly that if you're in the tax for like 3 consecutive years, then if you're in the tax again, you have to pay higher rates. And then that makes team building in the future more difficult. So it's called resetting your repeater clock. If you're in the tax, then that counts towards that repeater clock. So ideally, if you can avoid the tax, you do it. So that way, in case you do have to go into the tax in the future, you're less likely to have to be in the repeater. But I think the way you asked me is how I feel about whether teams should go into the tax round, what it takes. That might start to change a little bit, because next year there's going to be a big change to the luxury tax system. It's from the new CBA, but they've just been slowly implementing these changes where it's going to be way more expensive to be in the tax. Once you're like 11 million or so into it, the rates are going to go up more. But on the other side of that, they're going to make it cheaper for teams to be in the tax like within the first 10, 11 million. And I think the idea behind that is to try to motivate teams like the Kings, who are typically never paying tax. I don't think they pay tax since like 2006, to potentially be willing to have their payroll like just high enough where they want to pay some tax, because it'll be like dollar for dollar for the most part. And it's actually something I wrote about on Third Apron. But on the other side of that, it might not only keep teams like the Kings, the Pacers, all these teams that never pay tax to continue not paying tax, but it just might get teams that usually pay a lot of tax, like the Warriors, the Clippers, the Nets, to just pay less, because they've been spending like hundreds of $1 million in the tax over these past few years. They're probably going to want to kind of keep it at a certain level now that's less, because they're higher rates, because of these second apron penalties. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell when a team should be paying tax now at this point. I get the feeling, though, for a team like the Kings that are just now fighting to make the playoffs, they're probably going to be operating with that tax being more or less the threshold they're not going to want to pass for now and maybe the next few years.
Yosi, as we approach the trade deadline in a couple days, from a financial standpoint, where do you think the game of chicken will break, right? Who breaks first in a lot of these situations as the trade deadline approaches? The buyers or the sellers? Will it be the Nets saying, fine, we don't want to, and I keep saying the Wizards kind of messed up with Kyle Kuzma last season, and they could have sold higher on Kyle Kuzma. We don't want to be in that situation. Or is it going to be a Kings team or a Warriors team that's desperate and says, fine, we'll give you more? How do you see this whole thing shaking out, and who breaks first before the trade deadline in most of these situations?
Every trade deadline is different, and I think we've already seen the 2 biggest moves happen, and I think it's a buyer's market where you saw the Lakers, they didn't even give up the whole boat to get Luka. They kept one of their first-round picks. They kept Dalton Knecht. They kept Austin Reeves. And unfortunately with the Kings, I don't think they really got any good value. Like the most valuable first-round pick they got, I think, is the Wolves pick. It seems like this is kind of like a free agent signing all in, but it's like cloaked as a trade because all the picks the Kings got, unfortunately, they're not really of value. Some of them are going to just be second-round picks. The main thing they got is Zach LaVine to help try to stay competitive now. So that's another example where it seems like the Spurs, they held their ground. They said, hey, we can just sign Fox outright in 2026. Here's our offer. Take it or it potentially might be less in the offseason. So I would say right now it's kind of the sellers that are probably the ones that are like, in a worse position in these negotiations.
Well, I think that does help for the Sacramento Kings if they do want to be in on Cam Johnson and some of the situations. Yosi, thank you so much for joining us. Yosi Gozlin, NBA salary cap expert for the thirdapron.com. Go check out all of his work that he mentioned and all the other stuff he has coming up because a lot is going to happen within these next couple of days. Yosi, thank you so much. We will do it again very soon.
Thanks for having me on, Allen.
Great stuff there. Very eye-opening from Yosi for me to come out and say, are the Kings in a better or worse position? Honestly, Kyle, I thought he was going to say better because of the impending max deal from Foxy, but I think I was underestimating how much Zach LaVine was making. I said, okay, 37 to 40, whatever. And then, oh yeah, 10 million. That is quite the difference. And just the conversation as far as moving on from Kevin Huerter, it makes more sense to me if they make another move. But yeah, some eye-opening stuff and not in a great way, I'd say.
No, the Kings are, for the most part, limited to those 15 million or less players at this point going forward. And to your point about LaVine's contract, it's a monster right now, and that comes with him waiving the trade kicker.
Mm-hmm.
He could have made an extra $10 million on top of it if he hadn't waived the trade kicker to come to Sacramento.
So on the other side, we will continue the conversation. How can the Kings still win in this situation? And we discuss their draft picks and all of the assets that they have. And we open back up the phone lines, 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Great stuff from our guy, Yosi Gozlin, NBA salary cap extraordinaire, thirdapron.com. Go check all that out. Yeah, I thought the Kings, I thought it was going to be a bit of a more optimistic conversation. This is very much what I left with is that the Kings shouldn't be done because they're spending money as if they're still rolling right now. And the scariest thing that he said, and I got to give kudos to Carmichael Dave. He was on this when we did the when we did the stream right after De'Aaron got traded, as he breaks down the TPE thing. Now, the trade player exception, that can be used for a player if the salaries match, but you can't use it the same way you would have used Kevin. That's why I'm still not really 1,000% sure why they moved off of Kevin, because you still could have used Kevin in a potential deal with Cam Johnson. Now, if I'm understanding Yosi correctly, you can't get Cam Johnson without moving on from DeMar DeRozan.
Yes, that is correct. Or someone of equal salary. So, DeRozan's the most likely person because they're not going to trade Monk. They're probably not going to trade Sabonis. So, DeRozan would be the one that would make sense, because you can't even you can't even do the Lyles, Devin Carter, whatever else anymore, because then you wouldn't have enough players on the roster coming back. So, yeah, they literally cannot trade for a $20 million player without trading DeMar DeRozan, which is not off the table, obviously. We know DeMar's interest in playing for a contender at the back end of his career. He signed here because of Fox. We talked about it. I think the LaVine DeRozan connection makes it easier to convince him to stick around because he really likes Zach LaVine.
Right. It's like whack-a-mole. It's literally whack-a-mole, because look, the Cam Johnson thing, I like Cam Johnson. Do I like Cam Johnson as the number 2 scoring option? I don't know.
Which is why you heard them connected to the Caleb Martin thing, you know, very briefly. It's because they can only trade for players in that $15 million, that Trey Lyles contract to $15 million is what they can do. And to answer your question, why they included Kevin Huerter in the first place is because I believe I would have to look at the math, but to correct Yoshi, it's I'm pretty sure they could not have done this trade without including a second contract, and they happened to choose Kevin Huerter's because it was the one from what I'm guessing, the one they most desired to move off of, right? Fox and McLaughlin by itself, I don't think was going to be enough to get LaVine and Seedy. Is it Seedy? Seedy and LaVine, for those two, I don't think was going to be enough to get it done. So they chose to include Huerter. And by the way, they have a bunch of cap space right now. They can take on a larger contract because I think they're like $10 million below the cap right now. So they can take on a pretty big deal from a team that is wanting to potentially get off cap space.
Crazy stuff. All I know is if DeRozan, again, you move on from DeRozan for Cam Johnson. I thought the hope was to add Cam Johnson and keep DeRozan. Doesn't seem like that is possible.
Also, I'll note John Collins and Kyle Kuzma, it's the same thing. It's not like, we can't get Cam Johnson, so let's pivot.
Right. That money is the same.
The money's, for all intents and purposes, it's the same. The only way realistically they can make another trade is for a player matching Trey Lyles' salary plus $5 to $6 million, basically. And it has to be a specific team, because if you're a luxury tax team, you can't take on more salary than what you already had. So it's a very specific kind of trade the Kings can make at this point without parting with any of the starting, call it 6.
916-339-1140. The text line. Who they getting now? Yeah, we're going to find out. And that's why I don't want to spend too much time, and Yosi did a great job, but ultimately whatever they're going to do and whatever flexibility they have or don't have, we're going to find out in a couple days here.
Hey, you know who makes about Trey Lyles' salary plus $5 million?
Bobby Portis.
Well, Bobby Portis too, but I was going to say your BFF Obi Toppin.
You couldn't live with your failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Obi Toppin.
It
honestly, Obi Toppin is on the short list because remember we've been keeping a running list of the possible names for the Sacramento Kings at this point. Just going down the list, it's like Cody Martin, Chris Boucher, Daniel Tice.
I'd take Chris Boucher.
Yeah, there's a few names that work. Obviously, Torrey Craig just bought out. You want to sign another free agent? Jay Crowder, Doug McDermott, Torrey Craig.
I think Torrey Craig would play, but I don't know.
Yeah, basically you just wiped out 60% of the names that the Kings were targeting before. Like DeAndre Hunter doesn't work. Maybe they would trade DeRozan for DeAndre Hunter, but doesn't work. Kuzma doesn't work. John Collins doesn't work.
But that's why I think Yosi had said there were essentially two separate trades going on. And it feels like Chicago said, I'm leaving here with something. And I'm leaving here with Kevin Huerter, who I don't know if the Kings, I think the Kings, quote unquote, having to do it with Chicago saying, I'm leaving here with something, and you're going to give us a deal that's going to expire soon.
Well, I think the reason Chicago did it was Chicago essentially took on salary to get their own first-round pick back, right? Because there's reports even today. They're trying to shop Trey Jones. They're trying to shop Kevin Huerter.
Right.
Like they will take another deal if someone wants to dump salary, but
to me, that makes, from how I'm understanding it, and again, I don't want to get too far in the weeds here. I know, Kyle, you get excited when we go in the weeds, but we're pretty deep in them right now.
We're about waist high right now.
We're pretty deep. So to bring ourselves out of the weeds, it feels like the Kings lost this even more. And even though the traded player exception is a tool, Kevin Huerter was a more flexible tool. That's how I'm understanding it.
I understood it as this is less of a win now trade than people are making it out to be.
Yeah, that's true too.
Maybe Zach LaVine will be an excellent player for the Sacramento Kings. That's really the only path I see to them making up. You mentioned incomplete grade yesterday for the trade.
Yes.
Just because there's more pieces that have to be moved. And I think that's fair. But I think the way that this works in the Kings' favor is if and only if, well, I guess the further stretch is if CD for the Spurs ends up becoming a found money situation.
And we're gonna spend some time because I watched some tape. I watched some tape against the Stockton Kings.
But he was
got a guy.
He was picked with the same draft, basically at the same spot as Colby Jones. I think he was a couple picks later, and the Spurs gave up on him the same way that the Kings are debating whether to give up on Colby Jones or not. So either he becomes found money, or the more likely outcome is Zach LaVine is able to replicate De'Aaron Fox's production and add something to the offense that wasn't there before. Do I think that's going to happen? I would say not out of the question, but 25-75 chance that happens maybe.
Tahoe Local 510 is asking, is LaVine having a press conference today? I'll have to find that out. I haven't heard word about that. Obviously I talked to Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross during our crosstalk, but I'll try to get that information for you, Tahoe Local 510. On the other side, I say this a lot on this show about having to be careful, but I really got to be careful about what I'm about to say when we return, because the question is, how good is good enough for the Sacramento Kings? That's ultimately the question here. I'm going to address something that a lot of people have chimed in and talked about, and I'm going to try to do it in as safe a way as I can. And one of you will probably say, Allen, be careful, just like you did last time. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Discover unbeatable value at Folsom Buick GMC this President's Day. Drive with assurance and our 20-year, 200,000-mile powertrain warranty. Enjoy $10,000 off all 2024 Hummer EVs, plus 0% APR for 60 months for qualified buyers. Lease the 2025 Hummer EV for just $818 per month. These offers end March 3rd, 2025. Visit Folsom Buick GMC today, your EV headquarters for power, performance, and savings. Select units and check dealer for details.
Hey, it's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and the regular season is over, but the high hand bonuses, those are not. $500 per primetime football game, whether it's weekend, Monday night, whatever it may be. And those bonuses, available until the season ends, including the big game on February 9th. Capital Casino, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Tom's Watch Bar has the best happy hour in Sacramento, starting with $5 specials all day, every day. Plus select $7 appetizers and $12 entrees with 360-degree viewing and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for sports fans.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their #1 priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Everybody is interested in everybody right now. There are teams connected to so many players. I mean, seems like it's going to be a very, very electric trade deadline, or it's just going to be a bunch of talking and a bunch of rumors and a bunch of nothing actually happened. We will find that out on Thursday for our trade deadline extravaganza, and it will be just that. But before we get there, I have to get something off my chest. Allen Stiles Show, taking you up to 2 p.m. And as I said, I have to choose my words wisely. I practiced this in the mirror as I was brushing my teeth this morning. So let's hope I can do this in a way that gets my point across, but also doesn't get me in any trouble. And I was watching the game last night, and as I'm watching it, something clicked in my head. And what clicked in my head is that this team is going to be good, ... enough. You are going to get 1,000% from Malik Monk every day. You are going to get a Zach LaVine that is very motivated. You are going to get a DeMar DeRozan who wants to play some meaningful basketball before the sun sets on his career. You are going to get a Keegan Murray that is entering a leadership role on the team. You are going to get a Domantas Sabonis putting up numbers we haven't seen since Wilt Chamberlain and that dude in Denver, okay? With a coach with something to prove, and that is your starting lineup. That's what you're working with. The bench is the bench. Keon Ellis, your found money, we understand that. Where I think Kings fans, and as we talk to our capologist, Yosi, he wants to be on the show again. I'll have him on anytime. That was great information. We want him back on the show. But as we break down the Kings cap situation, whether or not they should go into the luxury tax, things like that, ultimately the question becomes, what exactly is it? And this is where I got a tiptoe here. What exactly is it that this ownership wants? Okay. Because you're dealing with a fan base that, relatively speaking, their expectations may not be as high. You are not the owner of the Boston Celtics. You are not the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. You are not the owner of some of these teams with this championship pedigree, and that's what's expected year in, year out. So are you going to essentially use that to your advantage to a point where, look, this team has barely made the playoffs, okay? We already broke a over decade-long drought a couple years ago. All we got to do is get to the playoffs, and the fan base is going to be happy. We're going to get playoff revenue, and it's going to be honky-dory. That's a winning strategy for us. Deep down in their heart of hearts, I don't know this, but deep down in their heart of hearts, do they want to compete for a championship? And do they want to do what is necessary to compete for a championship? I believe we will figure out those answers very, very soon. You've made the decision. We don't want to rebuild. We want to retool. Okay, but why? Do you want to retool because you think who you have is good enough to win a championship? Or do you want to retool because you understand that this team is good enough for Sacramentans to have hope, to light the beam and get the beam sponsored and put butts in the seats and get that revenue from a team that maybe could get hot? But are you willing to do the work and take it to the next level to be a true championship contender? Because Sacramentans are not stupid. They're not dumb. At some point here, and some of you are already there, at some point here, the conversation is going to become, okay, so are we actually going to try to compete for championships? Or are we just happy being a 6 seed every single season? And look, we were really hard on De'Aaron to start the show. That's what De'Aaron was kind of speaking to. Now, De'Aaron also looked in the mirror and realized that it does start with me, and I don't know that I'm good enough to help get them there by myself or being a number one. But that, I believe, could vindicate how De'Aaron felt about this. This is the other side of it. We spent the beginning of the show talking about the De'Aaron side of it and De'Aaron looking in the mirror. But when I look at the opposite, and when I look at where this team is and what I fell into it, this is what they kind of want, right? They want us to see, you know what? We got Zach LaVine coming back. Malik Monk is going to take a leap. And even if they don't, this team is good enough to give you hope. Are they selling hope, or are they selling a true championship contender? That is what we are going to figure out within the next couple months here. What they do at the first couple days. What they do as far as the trade deadline is concerned, what they do in this offseason. Because if you want to retool, that's fine. But are you retooling because you don't want to miss out on the hype that you built from the Beam Team season a couple years ago? You're not actually trying to build a championship contender. Now, two things can be true. De'Aaron, not generational, but also new. I think y'all are just okay with us fighting and clawing to get to that. Now, the Kings should be in a better position. Don't get me wrong. But I think y'all are just okay with us always being the dark horse, right? 5 seed, 6 seed, maybe a 4 seed, and maybe we get lucky. I think y'all are okay with the value being such where, hey, we're not paying luxury tax, and look how our team is performing. we're never going to overpay. We are going to be in a situation where we're going to make money based on what we are paying, but we're not going to overpay and possibly lose out. Golden State Warriors, luxury tax. They paid for it, right? They're the 10 seed right now. The Clippers, they've paid for it. Never got a championship. So we're not going to be in that position. What we're going to be is a 4 to 8 seed. And one of these days, if the stars align, maybe we get something. But either way, we're always going to be in the conversation. We're always going to be competitive. And that is why the retool made more sense to this ownership group than a full-on rebuild, because they didn't want to miss out on the wave that they have right now. That is how I felt watching the game. And depending on what they do at this trade deadline and what they do these next couple months will tell me a lot about not just me, all Kings fans. Are you trying to just sell us hopium? Are you trying to sell us an idea when in reality, you're kind of just okay getting to the second round? Because based on what we're spending, we're making a lot of money. If you get to the second round and you're in the luxury tax, it don't hit the same. But you get to the second round and you're not in the luxury tax, right? And Malik Monk, you got a great deal in Malik Monk. Yeah, maybe slight overpay for Zach LaVine, slight overpay for DeMar DeRozan. I would say it's a pretty good contract out of Domantas Sabonis. You're not paying Keegan yet. Are they essentially, I don't want to say manipulating, but understanding that the expectations for Kings fans are such that they don't have to spend the money? I'm going to go to my relationship comparisons, Kyle. If you date someone and the person that you dated has been in some rough situations, we're not going to go into what those rough situations are, but some rough situations, right? And you start dating someone and you pay for their dinner. You get them flowers. And it's one thing to be happy about getting flowers, but it's just no one's ever done this for me. They start breaking down in tears, right? They start breaking down in tears, or you pay for their dinner or you send them some money for lunch. They start breaking down. And you say, whoa. Hey, I'm glad you like it, but it's not that big of a deal. No, you don't understand. Nobody has ever done this for me. So the expectation level is a little bit different. And that's what I found myself thinking about last night watching the game. Are we being sold a bill of goods? And at what point, as we have kind of put De'Aaron Fox in a certain light, and now we're going to do the other side in a certain light. Y'all know how I get down. I will talk about it all. So as we talk about De'Aaron Fox and him looking in the mirror, the Kings looking in the mirror and trying to figure out what exactly it is that they want to be. Because Kings fans are not dumb, and it's only going to take a little bit more time here. Not to say, look, you get into the dance, anything can happen. So the best thing to happen to the Sacramento Kings and to the league, I'd say, a couple years ago, the Lakers getting to the Western Conference Finals as a 7 seed, and last season, the Dallas Mavericks getting to the finals as a 5 seed. So you could sell it. You could sell it. How long will we buy it? That's the question. And we're going to find that out in a couple days, and we're going to find that out within the next couple months. On the other side, we get to your phone line. Seems like I might have hit on a nerve here. Phone lines are full. Let's get to them when we get back. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With over 500 new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. Stockton Honda.com.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
Wow, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
This 49er injury report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
There's only one place where you'll find thousands of top brand vehicles, 17 dealers, and a friendly staff. Find the perfect ride tailored to fit your budget. Dream big and save even more during the President's Day sale at the Roseville Auto Mall. Driven to be the best.
The good news? Now that you've lost the excess weight, InShape Fitness is here to help you maintain your new look with everything from fitness classes to full-length mirrors to admire your new self. We are InShape. You are ready. Join online today at InShape.com.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Nine 916-339-1140. From the 916 from Esteban. I just don't want to watch losers, and that's where I see them headed. That's what I think. I think that they can flip that, right? You guys haven't had competitive basketball in nearly 20 years. So us being a 7-8 seed, what's the problem? What is the problem with that? There is no problem. Everything's relative. And for a lot of fans, that will be good enough, right? Because anything can happen. It's very true. Anything is possible. Just like Kevin Garnett said. 916-339-1140. Plenty of calls to get to. So let's start with them. Oh my goodness. Pool guy Mark, he's out of timeout. Pool guy Mark, let's no cuss words this time, pool guy Mark. What's up, pool guy Mark? How you doing?
Man, I got a bad reputation. Hey, appreciate taking the call. Hey, thank God you're, you had that revelation. I feel like, I've been waiting for you to kind of just, see the other side, the frustrations of some of the, Kings fans out there. So I just wanted to say that. And honestly, I called to see what you guys thought of Zach LaVine as an asset. I feel this is going to go one of two ways. He's going to play great ball. We're going to love this. He's going to be healthy. And, and hopefully, we do something in the playoffs, or, things are kind of stay status quo. And what do you guys think as him as a trade chip, in this offseason, with this contract? I mean, it seemed like the last couple of years he was kind of untradeable. Now that he's playing good and healthy, is it possible he could be a positive asset going forward?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Pool Guy Mark. Yeah, I would say a lot of teams, I know for a fact, the Warriors are in on everyone now, but it's really opened up because they were, and what I read actually was that the Bulls and the Warriors were talking about LaVine, right? But there was a holdup here or there on what each team wanted. The Bulls got pulled into the Spurs, Fox, Kings conversation, and they just rocked and rolled with that. So LaVine, it was kind of a quick move there. I didn't really hear about a ton of interest besides the Warriors, and I say that because going into next season, I'm not really sure. Now, if he continues on this tear, right, and the Kings, let's say the Kings lose, they get the 8 seed and they trick it off and they don't get into the playoffs, right? I think it's possible, but at that point, a lot of people are adamant about not moving on from Domantas Sabonis. But at that point, if you're moving on from Zach LaVine, it's probably you're not moving on from Zach LaVine for more win now talent. It feels like you're just what is it? What's it saying? Robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I think at that point, if you're moving on from Zach LaVine, you're probably getting those young pieces, and then you're rehaving the rebuild conversation again, right?
To answer Pool Guy Mark's point, prohibitively with the contract, Zach LaVine only works as a number 2, right? Just because of how much money he makes, he takes up over 25% of your salary cap. Mm-hmm. Anyone who could potentially trade for Zach LaVine needs him as a number 2, or has to be a number 2, unless they have a number 2 that is on a rookie contract, which those don't come around very often. But if Zach LaVine's going to be your number 2, they tried to trade for him before, couldn't move him. Then only when Fox was available did they end up with LaVine. If LaVine's going to be your number 2 in Sacramento, and most people think the Sacramento Kings are going to be, play-in caliber team, it means you're going to have to find another team that says, yes, we definitively want Zach LaVine as our number 2, and are willing to trade the Kings comparable value in return to make Zach LaVine our number 2.
Right. You look at some of the teams with these assets, and funny enough, the Spurs, it's not crazy if the Spurs won a big 3. I would say the Rockets as well, and maybe you're more so looking at LaVine to be a number 1 with the Rockets. I'm looking at teams with young talent. The Miami Heat, moving on from Jimmy, finally, they have some young assets. But my point is, what you're getting back, you're running away from the Grim Reaper as far as you can, and the Grim Reaper being the rebuild. You move off of Zach LaVine, we're really having the rebuild conversation. You're not getting back win now players again.
Even as good of a season as Zach LaVine is having, that contract made it such that all the Bulls could get from him after building up his value again was contracts and their own first-round pick back.
And again, how will that then be viewed? That's what you lost De'Aaron Fox for, right? That's how it'll be viewed to some people.
Which is why, to Pool Guy Mark's point, now that the deal is done, I wouldn't have made the deal, but now that the deal is done, their best path forward is just 2 years of Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis. You got 2 years to figure that, or this year and next year, you got that much time to figure out if this thing is going to work, because otherwise you're selling low on Zach LaVine again. So right. This is the team for the next 2 years. It's Zach LaVine, it's Domantas Sabonis, it's Malik Monk, it's Keegan Murray. That's your team.
Yeah, that's how I would approach it. 916 says, Allen, this is Jeff. Allen, we're Sacramento. We don't get nice things. There's no championship coming here. We just want a team to play hard every night and see what happens. And I think that's what I'm saying without trying to get in trouble. I think that is known. And I think you can play off that and say, and it's a situation where it's, hey, all we got to kind of be is a 6 seed. And that's why I think last season, that's why the Mike Brown thing was delayed, because even with those injuries, I think that from going to a 3 seed to the play-in, a championship was never going to be necessary, but they really thought that the playoffs was just a lock. And when they ended up getting a 9 seed, that did not sit well with anybody associated with the Sacramento Kings. 916-339-1140. We have some numbers to get to. Let's go to Ramiz. Wants to be part of the conversation. We see you, Dwayne and AC, but Ramiz has the floor. What's up, Ramiz? What you got for us?
Hey, Stiles, how you doing? Yeah, I kind of agree with your co-host. I want to trade Fox because he is a franchise point guard. I know rumblings saying, "Oh, he doesn't do this or do that," but after watching last night's game and just really looking at the players, I'm like, why did De'Aaron want to play with these guys? And I'm just like, the hell with De'Aaron now. But the thing is, I'm to the point where I don't want to see a 7th or 8th or a C. I'd rather just break it down and just rebuild again.
Yeah.
Because it's the false hope, like you said. They want the fans in the seats. I'm not, I go to 4 games a year, and I usually go to opening night. But I'm just not excited anymore, man, to be honest with you. I've been a Kings fan, man, since 97 when I moved to Sac, and I've been through hell and back. I was crushed when we traded Boogie. I was crushed when we traded Boogie. But you know how that turned out. And then Fox, man, and I always wanted Fox when he was Kentucky. When we drafted him, I was so pumped. And then we get peanuts for him, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm just very disappointed, man. It was hard watching last night's game. And the thing is, people are like, oh, yeah, Fox, we still love. I don't love Fox anymore because he left.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of irritated, man. I just don't want to be a play-in team. The ultimate goal is to win a championship. I trade Sabonis. The only player I'm keeping on the team is Keegan because of that rookie deal, and I'm starting all over again.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Ramiz. And that's what I think those paths are. It's just continue, and that's what I'm saying. You have what Jeff said on the text line as saying, hey, we just want to kind of be competitive, and we're not even used to having a competitive team, and rebuilds aren't easy, right? I think everybody sees the current rebuilds are hot in the streets right now, so everybody sees, well, OKC did it and Houston did it, and these teams, they just did it, but the Charlotte Hornets been rebuilding since before I had facial hair, and they stink. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But to counter Ramiz's point, I would say you have an all-NBA center in his prime, who's about to lead the league in rebounding for the 3rd year in a row, who is the ultimate team-first guy, and if he plays even 3 seasons of decent basketball in Sacramento, is going to have his jersey up in the rafters one day. It's hard for me to say, get rid of that guy under any trade circumstances. You could throw 5 first-round picks at me, and I'm saying I don't think that guy is someone I value him more to what we're trying to build than any amount of draft picks you could offer me.
But that is why I believe Ramiz is here, because they keep, similar to De'Aaron Fox, do you want to compete or don't you, Sacramento Kings? Because you do have that, but that's not enough. And that's why De'Aaron, I think, look, De'Aaron looked in the mirror and said, I don't know that I am a championship number 1, so I'm going to go play with Victor Wembanyama if y'all ain't going to try to give me what I need. Now, is the roster better than when De'Aaron, a couple of years ago with De'Aaron? Yeah, it's better. It's good enough to be a 5-6 seed, which is what they should be, and maybe get hot. But year in, year out, most of the time, that's not the team that wins the whole thing. Luke is a generational guy, and Kyrie is no slouch. And they made moves to sacrifice their future at the trade deadline last season. Let's keep it rolling. 916-339-1140. Got Dwayne and AC. Let's go to Dwayne. What's up, Dwayne? What you got for us?
Stiles and Kyle, man. Listen, man, we're going to keep it simple because it's 48 hours. There's no time to waste time right now, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just look in the mirror, like you said. 2 years ago, 48 and 34. Last year, 46 and 36. But you trucked off a bunch of games, and you went 0-6 against the Pelicans for all the reasons we've been talking about, right? And now you're hovering around 500. With all this talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I say go get Obi Toppin, man. 6'9", power forward, hyper athletic. He'll roam the paint. You know what I'm saying? He's going to dunk on people every game, bro. When he comes in the game, the fans are going to go crazy. Somebody's going to get dunked on for sure.
Right. Give me somebody, Dwayne. Give me somebody, Dwayne. Thanks for the call. Let's get to AC. Before we get to the other side, we see more calls coming in. What's up, AC? What you got for us?
Hey, Alan, it's Alan. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I'm glad that Ramiz guy is not running our team because that's a dark, deep hole I never want to go into.
No rebuild for you.
No, and I think people are underestimating the value of this trade. Fox, if you look back at the Kings' home record, they sucked at home, and that's one of the reasons that Mike Brown got fired, because we can't be losing games in front of a paying crowd, right? Mm-hmm. So Fox, when they're at home, and I know he's a family guy, I think he got affected by family stuff, and he kind of came out a lot of home games kind of a little lackadaisical. And I think and people argue, well, he scored all these points and stuff, but the team followed his lead. And so the mood of the team, he was the point guard, technically he was an off guard, but the team followed his lead. And when you go on the road, you get away from the family stuff, and all of a sudden they play really well, right? Mm-hmm. I think we're going to be really, really happy with Zach LaVine, and he's not the end all. We need some more pieces still, but I think you're going to see some stuff. I just watched a video on him that was really objective and excellent, and talking about all the stuff that he can do, and he fits our system really well.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Alan. Look, I'm excited to see it. With all that being said, this is just based on who Zach LaVine has been. And what I initially said was, if you go and get your secondary piece, right, go get that wing, you can be in the same situation that you would have been if you kept De'Aaron Fox and got the piece. I still don't think that's a championship team, but you're moving in the right direction. I'm more so looking at the big picture. So no, I don't want to blow it up at all, because it still takes a lot of luck and good fortune to make the blow up even worth it. Raphael, you will lead us off in the 12 o'clock hour. Got to pay some bills. And on the other side, we keep the conversation going. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for three, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Is your garage door stuck in the winter blues? Well, February is the perfect time to give it some love. Jason Ross here to tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. And they're here to keep your garage door running smoothly. This February, they're spreading the love with their Sweetheart Special, $150 off a garage door with the purchase of a garage door opener. Now, the experts at Overhead Door Company of Sacramento provide fast, reliable service that's always on time and always done right. From squeaky hinges to full door replacements, they've got you covered. So don't let your garage door be the heartbreaker this season. Visit overheaddoorofsacramento.com for your free estimate. You can get in touch with them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, opening doors to your home and your hearts this February and all throughout the year. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery from the law firm of Gingery, Hammer & Associates. When you have been injured by the fault of another, you will want advice you can trust. If you know an attorney you can trust, I hope you call that person. But if you don't, please call me. I promise I will be the attorney you can trust, along with my entire team. I have been helping accident survivors recover compensation for their injuries for 25 years, and we can help you.
There's no charge for calling. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the Lakers. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
$12 hour. Can someone confirm? Is the sun out? I feel like I might see the sun.
I see sun through the tiny window that we have. For those who don't know, we sit in like a windowless room, basically. I don't see the sun for like 7 hours a day.
It's like a casino. You have no clue. Obviously, we have clocks in here.
All we have is just a small, tiny window in the corner that it looks like it's sunny. It's like I'm so close. I could almost reach it. The sun's right there.
By the way, we'll have more information, but I will be out on Friday, my goddaughter's birthday up in Oregon. I got to go up there, and I found out it's snowing. And am I a bad godfather if I cancel? Because I'm not trying. I would thought we were going to get some golf in. It's going to be rough. But we'll have more info for you on.
I guess also I'm not going to be on the show the rest of the week either.
Right. Kyle is bumping up to the morning show with some of the logistics that we have. So we have more housekeeping for you. It's only Tuesday, so we will remind you. But the weather conversation reminded me that I am heading into a tundra this weekend. Real quick, we're about to get to Raphael's call and read some more of your texts. Brendan Nunes has not heard anything about a Zach LaVine press conference. A couple of you have been asking me, and I'm taking it through the proper channels. Brendan hasn't heard anything yet. So when we hear something, we will let you know. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Raphael, who's been patiently waiting, wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Raphael? What you got for us?
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. So I have a couple points. I like what you were saying earlier about we need to look at our franchise and see, okay, are we trying to entertain the fans and get in on like a 4th, 5th, or 6th seed in the playoffs just to keep fans happy, or do we want to actually compete for a championship? I don't think keeping Fox was going to help us compete for a championship because the way it was going, I think him trying to learn how to shoot his 3-pointers really took away from him getting to the basket how he did the year we made playoffs. Mm-hmm. And adding players it just made it more congested for our offensive flow.
Right.
So adding players would be more difficult, and I feel like we were in a stalemate on who to add to the team due to like our payroll and all that stuff. So it made it super difficult to try to improve. And you also mentioned that Fox doesn't want to be the number one guy on the team. Mm-hmm. I think he has a docile personality, and he doesn't want to take that leadership role because he doesn't like, the lights, camera, action on him.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Raphael. Great stuff. And that's where we're at with this, right? Again, there are, and I wish there was a poll that we could put out to every Sacramento Kings fan. Would you, because I do think it would be really close. Because think about what you're selling. You're selling the possibility, and it is a real it's a real possibility, but it's not probable, right? Is it possible that Zach LaVine keeps playing at this same clip? Malik Monk takes a leap. Sabonis keeps doing his thing. Doug Christie is that perfect voice, and they're a 5 seed and they just get hot. It's possible. And again, you get to the second round, you might have a parade for the second round. So there are, I believe, and I feel like there are more fans, for the fans that call in that say this isn't good enough and you should restart it. I do think that there are probably more fans out there that are willing to just swallow what we're currently doing with the possibility, which is being competitive, right? The bar is different. This isn't, like I said, this is not the Celtics. This is not the Los Angeles Lakers, right? It's not championship. This isn't, you know what? This isn't a championship team, so let's just blow the whole thing up. This is, I'm still enjoying competitive basketball. There are some people that their whole youth, as far as Sacramento Kings were concerned, they were not competitive, right? Now you have kids, and how many times do I see, man, my kids don't know how good they got it. The Kings are competitive. And ownership knows that. The Kings know that. And I think that there are more people that just enjoy that than ultimately this team is probably not going to win a championship. Because you know what? Most teams don't, and most small markets don't. So you keep trying to hit till you find that legendary player, that generational player, and then you go from there. When that'll happen, I don't know. I might be a grandpa by then. Who knows? The 707 says, I've called into the show many times, and I text all the time. I've been preaching. Shout out to 707, by the way. I've been preaching this for months, that we are better off without Fox. Monk is much better at facilitating and playmaking. This team plays much better when Fox is not on the court. We are 4-0 this season, with probably our best 4 wins without Fox. Now we're adding a 2-time All-Star that is maybe the most efficient guard in the league. What is there not to be excited about? And I'm with you. 707. There should be some excitement. There should be a level of excitement with the Sacramento Kings. If they, like I said, we'll get into the Magic game tomorrow. The Magic, they are, they're struggling right now. Obviously, we'll see how it looks. It'll just be a 1-game sample size with Zach LaVine, but it could be popping. It could be crazy tomorrow night. The Kings may have found something. Again, it's the same thing that I talked about weeks ago. The Kings being considered, and I'm watching The Bachelor now. And I got Kyle, I got a height on The Bachelor. My little sister looked it up for me. He's 6'5". This dude was dunking in the episode yesterday. Ticked me off. I don't want to see that. Then he starts singing on the piano, and he's like, oh, I just made up this song now. This guy, he's killing me. All right, he's literally, I've been feeling good about myself, Kyle, about to get my haircut a couple days, and then I got to watch this guy. I don't want to see it.
I don't think you should watch this guy.
My wife is all of a sudden into The Bachelor. I don't like it.
Little too envious.
A little too envious, all right? So we had this conversation where it's one thing to be called cute, but it's another thing to be called strapping or hot or sexy. And right now, when we view the Sacramento Kings, they're cute, right? But for a long time, they were not the belle of the ball. So being cute is not a problem for a lot of Kings fans. Hey, I haven't been called cute in years. I'll take that. But some Kings fans, they want that growth spurt. They want to be called handsome. They want to be the next Bachelor. That's what they want. That's what we're trying to figure out, where that line starts and ends. And how many Kings fans are in this camp? How many Kings fans are in the other camp? 916-339-1140. Let's get to Matthew. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Matthew? What you got for us?
I just want to know when we're going to make Doug Christie our head coach. I believe he deserves it. He helped turn our team around.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would be super disrespectful if we bring someone else in and kick him back to assistant coach, brother.
There's no way, Matthew. I guarantee that would be crazy, Matthew.
I mean, who else are we going to grab, man? Who else is going to be our head coach?
There's nobody.
It wouldn't be disrespectful to kick him back to assistant coach after he turned our team around?
No, I hear you. Thanks for the call, Matthew. That's why it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen.
He's either going to be the coach or he's not going to be part of the organization.
And it's not going to be the latter. He will be the head coach. Is this Allen? Is this sourced? No. I'll tell you the source. Me. I'll tell you the source. My eyeballs. There's no way. No way. And we do have information based on how much the Kings were interested in, and how Doug Christie was added to the Mike Brown coaching staff. They've invested in Doug Christie. There is no way. And now he kind of gets a blank slate with all this Fox drama that's happened and even just taking the job. There's no way. There's literally no way. It would be the highest level of malpractice. You think the Rich Bisaccia thing was bad with the Raiders. There is no way.
At least Rich Bisaccia didn't have a 10-year career playing for the Raiders.
Yeah. He said he took him to see the beam on the top of the building. There's no way. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Ashley. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Ashley? What you got for us?
So a couple things. First, as far as what you were saying about the Zach LaVine, it could potentially be a really good move for us that works out. I think that there is that chance because Zach LaVine is really good around the screen, and Sabonis is one of, if not the best screener in the NBA. But what I was initially really wanting to talk about was Monty McNair. Yesterday I was hearing some talk about we can't say that Monty is scared to make the trade. Well, no, we can't say that he's scared to make a trade now because he's got two of the biggest trades. But what we can say is he's scared to make timely trades or scared to make the trade that is needed to be made. Because honestly, I think that there is a chance that in a world where we could have kept Fox, but we didn't give him any of the things that we want, like he was requesting. And when you've got a player like that you built your team around, you've had him for as long as you have, I feel like, especially with all he's done for Sacramento, you do everything you can for that guy. And if it doesn't work, okay, maybe we have to take a little bit of a smaller package in the offseason. But, as a fan, I'd be okay with that because one thing I care about is how are we treating our guys, our stars? Because we don't get them often. And if we don't treat them well, then who's going to want to come to Sacramento,
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Ashley. Great stuff. I just saw something. And there is a team that the Kings just did business with that are in on someone that the Kings are in on. And if this happens, I don't know what Kings fans would do. I will tell you who that player is. I will tell you who that team is in about a minute and a half. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, we immediately remove their legal burden and introduce them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators, and snappy dressers too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Live and local.
With everything 49ers.
Intercepted by Fred Warner. Dives for the end zone. Touchdown! San Francisco! Paul George went up and caught the ball. Touchdown!
The 49ers play on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
So you ready for this? This is coming from Ty Yeager, who is San Antonio Spurs reporter. And Ty Yeager is confirming. This is from the initial post is from just some Spurs person. Doesn't say who they're associated with, about 2,000 followers. And it says the Spurs have inquired about Cam Johnson and Herb Jones. Herb Jones is interesting because he's dealing with injury. He might be out the rest of the season. But Cam Johnson, they go on to say they are looking for a 3-and-D wing. Ty Yeager quote tweets it 13 minutes ago and says, can confirm the Spurs are very much still active on the phones. The Spurs do have an open roster spot available. So the Spurs are now in on Cam Johnson, and I can only imagine how Kings fans would feel if the Spurs, as much as, look, we can say what we want about De'Aaron Fox, but De'Aaron finally gets that wing that he's been looking for. He just had to go to the Riverwalk to get it.
Oh, and by the way, he also gets Jeremy Sohan and Justin Champagnie, or Julian. Which one? One of them's on the Spurs. They get Champagnie and Jeremy Sohan and Victor Wembanyama and Devin Vassell and everyone the Kings couldn't get in a trade. Oh, Keldon Johnson, too. He's also still there somehow.
So there you have it. That just came out. We'll see what type of legs that it gets. Everybody's interested in Cam Johnson. That's what it's always been. But if the Kings, the Spurs, they do business with the Kings, and again, it's a bidding war. And even though, as we talked to Yosi Goslin from the thirdapron.com, and you can go check that out on YouTube right now on the Sacktown Sports app. And he said that it was a seller's market. These teams that are interested, I hadn't heard the Spurs interested in Cam Johnson before. You drive up a price tag, and then the Spurs are able to get Cam Johnson because of what they didn't give to the Sacramento Kings in the De'Aaron Fox deal.
Or also what they didn't give, because I just popped it in the old trade machine.
Oh, God.
And all they have to do is trade either Keldon Johnson or Harrison Barnes. Just one of the two, and they will get Cam Johnson. Obviously, draft picks would go back.
Right.
They still have the Sacramento Kings pick swap. They still have their first-round pick this year. They still have the Hawks unprotected first-rounder this year. So the Spurs could give away both of those picks and get Cam Johnson without compromising any of their long-term future.
So that just came out, and there's a lot going on. I know we're obviously King focused here on the flagship. There's a lot going on, the Jimmy Butler stuff. Jimmy basically saying it's Suns or bust. I don't know if that means Jimmy will play for the Heat. I don't know.
I don't think we've talked more than 2 minutes on the Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic trade. The craziest trade in the NBA. It's just De'Aaron Fox got traded and we just completely bailed on it.
You know what? Someone's got to talk about it because they ain't talking about it. I fired up First Take yesterday because I'll do that after shows. And, even though it's a day later, we can still talk about things on this show here. And I kept fast forwarding and you're waiting for the little graphic to pop up. 2 hours straight. They went 2 hours of Luka Anthony Davis, and then they spent maybe half a segment or a segment on Myles Garrett requesting a trade. They did not talk about De'Aaron Fox at all. So you know what? We'll get to Luka at some point and Anthony Davis, but we are for the Sacramento people, and they can't turn on First Take and hear what they had to say. I did see Around the Horn talked about it a little bit, but
the Fox trade?
That's right.
I did see everyone kind of lump the trades together, and I know it's the easy thing to be like, Sacramento gets disrespected nationally, but honestly, kind of fair. Yesterday, I think it's fair to just
You can't get I can't get a segment?
No, not after the most shocking trade maybe in NBA
You can
history.
get a segment.
No.
Let's see if I'm going to fast forward today and see if I get it. The 916, Cam's off the table because of the salary, since we moved Herter and took on LaVine. So 916, that's a great question. Again, going back to our guy, Yosi Goslin of the Third Apron. He's not off the table, but I feel like I'm in a movie. I got an idea, but you're not going to like it. He's not off the table, but you're not going to like how they could get him. And in this world of adding talent and not losing talent, unfortunately, to that point, to get Cam Johnson, according to Yosi and some others, like I said, Carmichael Dave was all over this when the trade first happened. You can get Cam Johnson, but it's probably going to cost you DeMar DeRozan. So if DeMar is off the table for some of the reasons that we've laid out before, now that was before the De'Aaron Fox trade, but if DeMar is off the table, then yeah, Cam Johnson is cooked.
Yes, you have to give up one of the starting five in order to make the salaries match. That could even be Keegan Murray. They would never do it, but I'm just saying, of the starting five, which one do you think is most likely to get traded? And it's DeMar DeRozan. So they have to match salaries one way or another. If you want trade targets for the Kings, realistically, just look at any player making less than $15 million. Because the only way they can have a path to a trade is Trey Lyles plus salary cap space, probably with a team that is willing to take less, take on. So basically that $8 million to $15 million range is the only trade. Because if you're trading with a team over the cap, they can't take on Trey Lyles' contract without giving up equal value.
Someone says on the Sack Chat from It's Your Boy OG, says, forget Cam Johnson, go get John Collins. Well, unfortunately, same idea.
Can't do that either.
Same idea.
Same thing with Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, you would still have to give up DeRozan.
Or one of the starters. Pick your favorite. I think DeRozan's the most likely one, but yeah, any player making more than $15 million is basically off the table now.
Let's go glass half full. And we will talk about glass half full. We will talk about glass half empty on the De'Aaron Fox, Zach LaVine trade. Let's start with glass half full on the other side. How can the Kings come out on the winning side of this? More of your calls, more of your texts, more of your Sack Chat. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good, and they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system? And you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
This 49er injury report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Glass half full, glass half empty. How do you look at things? Not just with the Kings, but in life, and now specifically with the Sacramento Kings. There was a text that just popped in, but now it's gone. Oh, there it is. The 209. You guys are wrong on the trade front. We have trade exceptions. We can take on more cash than what you are thinking. The Kings, oh, that's a different 415. So that's from the 209. So look, again, you can go back and listen to Yosi Gozlin, who was on in the 11 o'clock hour. Yes, they have that. The TPE, the biggest one is about 16 million. They can bring on a player for that, but you can't combine that with Trey Lyles. That's why you can't use that and Trey Lyles the same way you could have used Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles to get Cam Johnson. That's what we're saying. So there are a couple ways they can do things, but it's all around the same amount of money.
Yes, because even though you have trade exceptions, you still have to match salaries with the team that you're trading him to. And sure, the Kings could, in theory, go into the luxury tax and take on $10 million, but what they would have to do is go back to Chicago, renegotiate the deal so that Kevin Huerter's trade exception then goes to a Brooklyn or a Washington, and it would get very convoluted and complicated, and it's probably not going to happen because Chicago's already trying to field other offers for Kevin Huerter.
Right. That was probably they felt like one of their biggest wins. No disrespect to Trey Jones, but adding a deal that at the end of the season will now be expiring.
You're talking about for Trey Jones?
For Kevin Huerter.
Well, no, because Kevin is under contract through next year.
No, I know, but once you get this season's almost over. Point, if you're the Bulls.
I think their biggest win was getting their own first-round pick back, which is honestly not that big of a win, but it was probably their biggest win.
Or moving on from Zach LaVine, who knows? 916 says, how is every Sacramento reporter saying there's trades coming? They don't have enough salary flexibility now with LaVine. How will this team be better trading DeMar? I seen this coming. That's why I can't get on board right now. And they want Monty to lose their job. That's from Esteban. Yeah, I know a lot of people are saying the Kings aren't done. The Kings aren't done. That's just a very broad term. And y'all know I don't really speak on sources or anything like that unless I feel really comfortable and confident. And yes, I saw exactly what you saw, Esteban. Kings aren't done, right? As soon as everybody is saying that's all they got back for Zach LaVine, Kings aren't done. Well, that could mean anything. That could mean they go get Torrey Craig. That doesn't mean, obviously optimistically you're going to think that means they're going to go get another big name, and that's what I hope, but it doesn't mean that's going to happen.
Yeah, if you're assuming DeMar DeRozan is going to stay on the team, which, by the way, looking into the camera, don't guarantee DeMar DeRozan is going to be on the team past the deadline, but if you're operating under the assumption DeRozan is going to be on the team, then you're only looking at players making $15 million or less, essentially. I mean, I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible there because they have to move Trey Lyles and somebody to get a deal, and your options there are your Cody Martins, your Chris Bouchers, your Daniel Tices. Those are the kinds of players you're talking about now versus, Caleb Martin was in that conversation before he just got traded to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the types of players you're talking about, not the John Collins, Kyle Kuzma, Cam Johnson type trade.
And you know what? Is there maybe some crazy way where they could maybe do it? I don't know. Maybe it's just probably unlikely. But I'm not going to sit here and say without the shadow of a doubt there is no way they can get any of these guys and keep DeMar DeRozan. Maybe there is some crazy way. I don't know. And that's why I can't wait for Thursday. I can't wait for Thursday to see what exactly is going to happen. The other part is, beyond money is the assets that you're willing to give up. And that was the holdup before on John Collins and the protections and Cam Johnson. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and we'll see if the Kings are willing to jump through them. Kyle, we have the sound from Keon Ellis on the Fox trade as we approach this kind of glass half full perspective on how things can look up after moving on from De'Aaron. Here it is.
Well, when the news came out, I think everybody was doing their own thing. But this morning we kind of came in and as a team, we just said, it's basketball. That's the business of it, the business side. So, but they're not going to come out and feel sorry for us or anything. They just lost their last game. They don't really care what we have going on. So they're trying to come out and win. And we're trying to keep it going forward too. So, tough to lose someone like that. And what he's done for our team, but kind of like the NBA, it's just on to the next. And as far as Zach, great player. I think he'll be a great addition to our team. So definitely excited to have him on our team and, just try to get him acclimated.
I'm going to say something. And look, I was not in that locker room. I can't literally say I know this for a fact, but just from listening to Keon right there, it feels like these dudes were ready for it to happen. And I'm reading a bunch of tea leaves, but it feels like De'Aaron was kind of out the door and the team knew it, and now they can move forward. I don't know what type of relationship Keon had with De'Aaron, and maybe there was more said somewhere else, but I haven't heard a lot of, and look, Keon gets it. No one is going to feel sorry for you, but I'm not hearing a lot of, no one, and that's the way to approach it, because no one is going to feel sorry for you. But I don't know. It feels like this team was mentally prepared for this to happen for months. That's what it feels like, or at least a month.
Yeah, I don't know about that it was going to happen so soon, but Jason Anderson basically said what you're talking about yesterday. The atmosphere in the locker room was almost like people saying goodbye to each other. That's kind of what it felt like. after Saturday's game between Malik and Trey Lyles and everything like that. It was the unceremonious end of the Beam team. On a cold Saturday night in Oklahoma City, it was the unceremonious ending of whatever that group was supposed to be together, at least the Fox, Herter, Lyles, Sabonis, Keegan Murray. The group itself is kind of broken at this point, and that's fine. You get a chance to build a new group, but yeah, I mean, by then everyone kind of was resigned. I think after the story went public with Shams on last Tuesday, I think that was kind of the writing being on the wall within the locker room.
Well, and I would say this. My first thought when I see the Kings, and obviously 4-0 without De'Aaron Fox this season, my first thought when I see the Kings and how they played last night, my first thought, I'm going to be completely honest with you, is I wish they would have did it sooner. I wish they would have done it sooner, because I think that team last night, they beat the 76ers. And I think that team last night has a really good chance of beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not because they're better without De'Aaron Fox per se, but they all look like they wanted to be on the court, and they all looked like they wanted to be on the court together. You were missing, that was a golden opportunity. You were missing Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso. Obviously, they haven't had Chet for a very long time. Oklahoma City Thunder, and these games matter. And if you are deciding that you are retooling and you're trying to make the playoffs this season, then you cannot waste time. And that game against Philly, and look, it takes 2 to tango, or 3 to tango, I should say. That game against Philly and that game against Oklahoma City was just a waste of time. It was a waste of everybody's time. It was a waste of Philly's time. It was a waste of Oklahoma City's time. Besides Aaron Wiggins, who dropped 41. Okay, it was a waste of the fans' time. It was a waste of everybody's time. I wish they would have moved them sooner. And obviously, you can't just move somebody on their own. But when I hear Keon Ellis, and we talked to a Jason Anderson, if you missed that, we check it out on YouTube, Sacktown Sports app as well. That was yesterday. If you look at everything that they're saying, you look at how the team played, this team was ready for it to be over. And it's over now, and I'm not saying that they're going to make any type of noise, but they might. All I know is it was the Charlie Brown cloud over them, and it's finally done.
Sure, but I don't think people would have said that during the win streak. I think this is only a recent thing. Once they found out the front office was trying to trade De'Aaron Fox, I think that's when it became more of a reality for what was happening, because I don't think this was hanging over the team after Mike got fired. I think this was the group. This was the group that was going out there and winning, and everyone was saying, look, they got themselves back in the race, and maybe we're going to have a first-round playoff series. And it felt, and sure, maybe the writing was on the wall that De'Aaron wasn't going to come back, but the group still thought they were going to be together until the end of the season. I think that only changed in the last week to maybe 2 weeks, based on what information they had.
They won 3 of those games without De'Aaron in that win streak. They beat the Warriors, they beat the Heat, and they beat the Celtics without De'Aaron. Okay? And you know me, Kyle. I covered the Warriors for years. I'm out there from the Bay Area. I saw the Kevin Durant, Draymond Green thing up close. And they still got to the finals, but the whole season was off. They were just so talented it didn't matter.
Well, and Kevin Durant got hurt in the playoffs, and so it kind of for a little bit removed.
No. Hold on. Kevin Durant initially, before any of that.
Yeah.
The fact that he did not extend, the whole thing was looming. Now you have Draymond Green, who's going to berate you on a sideline, which is a little bit different. But before the injury, before any of that, there was a cloud. And then Durant starts throwing shots. I thought we were supposed to be playing with joy. He's throwing shots at Steve Kerr. The whole thing was cooked. It's just different because they were so talented, it didn't matter.
Yeah, they all knew he was leaving, and then I meant they were able to get to the finals because they were A, so talented, but B, you removed the Kevin Durant from the equation for those 2 rounds of the playoffs. Really, 3 rounds of the playoffs. I mean, Kevin Durant should not have come back for that finals, but if they had won the finals with Kevin Durant or without Kevin Durant, it would have been different. The point being, though, I don't think when Fox got hurt, that made it feel like, oh, now we can just go without him. I think that only happened in the last week, basically, where it's like, we got to start preparing for him to be gone at this point. And it was cool that they won last night, but I don't think that is affirmation that this was hanging over them for like a month.
I believe that once the conversation happened with the front office and it's we need to get better, you have to go back into that locker room and say, yeah, it just came out that I kind of called some of you guys scrubs. And that's awkward. That's awkward to me. That doesn't mean he's going to leave, but that's awkward.
But it didn't
Who does that?
But it didn't seem to matter when they were winning.
But who does that, though? When has that happened? Especially for a dude with one All-NBA. If Luka want to call some dudes trash, that's one thing. I'm just saying the way these guys are reacting, I think that it was time to just move forward. We didn't even get to the glass half full perspective. We will do that on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Hey, it's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and the regular season is over, but the high hand bonuses, those are not. $500 per primetime football game, whether it's weekend, Monday night, whatever it may be. And those bonuses available until the season ends, including the big game on February 9th. Capital Casino, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
With the cooler seasons upon us, Advanced Infusion Center remains focused on your health and comfort. Whether you're dealing with a chronic illness or in need of IV therapy, we provide tailored treatments to meet your unique needs. Our caring team is here to make sure your experience is safe, comfortable, and stress-free. With convenient locations in Sacramento and Yuba and flexible scheduling, you can easily access the care you deserve. Explore Advanced Infusion Therapy today. Visit advancedinfusion.com for compassionate care right where you need it.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery. One of the most common questions I receive is what makes us different from other law firms. At Gingery, Hammer & Associates, we handle your case from beginning to end. Whether your case reaches a settlement, whether we need to file suit, or even take it all the way to trial, we will be with you along the entire way. And because we are committed to you and your case, we are as invested as you are in making sure you get the outcome you deserve. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
At Valley Strong Credit Union, we know that local businesses are the backbone of the Central Valley, investing in our neighborhoods, boosting the economy, making the Valley stronger. But when it comes to their finances, where can they turn? A big bank that just sees another number? That's not good enough. Valley businesses deserve Valley support for payroll, credit, cash flow, and everything in between. Valley Business is Valley Strong. Learn how our cash management services can support your business at valleystrong.com.
Discover unbeatable value at Folsom Buick GMC's President's Day sale. Enjoy a 20-year, 200,000-mile powertrain warranty for lasting peace of mind. Lease the 2025 GMC Sierra EV for just $859 per month. Limited stock available. Save up to $12,750 on the Sierra Denali. Offers end March 3rd, 2025. Visit Folsom Buick GMC, your EV headquarters, for power, performance, and savings. Call now before these deals are gone. Tom's Watch Bar has the best happy hour in Sacramento, starting with $5 specials all day, every day, plus select $7 appetizers and $12 entrees, with 360-degree viewing and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for sports fans.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
It's time to look at things glass half full. We got a little sidetracked, not really, but kind of. But this De'Aaron Fox thing and these trades. Look, this is where I'm going to leave this. This is from the 707. Kyle does not know at all. This is all caps, so I love reading all caps because they're very passionate. Kyle does not know at all what he is talking about. You don't have to trade any of the 5 starters to acquire Cam Johnson. You can trade Lyles, Carter, Jones, the 2025 Spurs first-round pick, renounce their rights to JaVale McGee and Ford, along with 2 second-round picks and their remaining cash considerations they also have left in their possession for Cam Johnson and Clowney, and with their 4.9 TPE, it says TPA, then go and sign Bamba and Craig. Go check Spotrac. Shaking my head, bruh. I just had to read that because I appreciate the work here, but we're not. Like I said, if they go get him, go get him. Is there I don't know if that works or not, 707, but I appreciate you working that. When I saw renounce their rights to JaVale McGee, that I had to read it. I
love this so much. So to get this right, Trey Lyles and Devin I know this person's probably being silly, but
I don't know. It's all caps, so I never know.
I'm going to choose to interpret this as sarcasm because it's funnier that way. The idea of we're going to include Devin Carter in the deal.
Yeah.
We're going to add Trey Lyles. We're going to add 2 second-round picks.
The 2025 Spurs first-round pick.
The Spurs that we don't have.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to remember that one.
No, that's why I'm choosing to say this is sarcasm. The 2025 pick that they don't have. Renounce JaVale McGee. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But that was very funny as a comedic drop.
I really had no clue if that was real or not.
No, that is sarcasm. I'm going to choose to believe.
707, if you're not joking, nicely done. Or if you are joking, nicely done. If you're not joking. Then it says go check Spotrac, CHECC.
Yes.
Go check Spotrac.
Wait, spelled incorrectly?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, look. Made my day. That text, 707, made my day. Beautiful.
I'm still confused at whether it's real or not, 707. Please tell us.
It's funnier if it's not, okay? So I think we're going to choose to interpret it as not. Which, by the way, you have to have 12 players on your roster. You can't. This is just a something that never comes up but should come up right now. The Kings only have 13 players on the roster, and 2 of them weren't on the team at the beginning of training camp. So you have to have a minimum of 12 people. So any trade they make, they have to either make Isaac Jones a full-time roster player, or they have to trade equal numbers of players to the other team, which also makes it more complicated if you're trying to do a 1 player for 3 players type of trade. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Going back to what Ashley said a couple segments ago, it reminded me because I was listening. Ashley was referring to the Drive guys when Ashley said that that it was Draper. I think it was during Drape's takes when he said, Monty McNair, we got to stop this conversation that he doesn't make moves or he's scared to make a trade, because he did. And Ashley said, well, he's scared to make a timely trade or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, because it did get me thinking when Drape said that during the Drape's takes, because I don't think it's that he's afraid to make a trade. It's that he keeps making trades that nobody is that excited about, right? The DeMar DeRozan situation, I think we convinced ourselves to be excited, but I don't think going into it, anybody had, out of all the conversations we talked about last season and names to acquire, DeMar DeRozan never came up because there were fit questions. And then, they move on from De'Aaron Fox, and they get Zach LaVine and a bunch of low-level first-round picks. So I don't think it was that Monty was afraid to make a trade. It was more so about, can he make a trade that everybody likes?
Also, we could look back on the DeMar DeRozan trade differently than what we thought at the time, because at the time, we were excited about the idea of a future Hall of Famer coming to play with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. In hindsight, the Sacramento Kings were his plan C, because he wanted to re-sign with Chicago. Chicago didn't offer him.
Right.
He wanted to go to Miami. Miami didn't offer him. So then the Sacramento thing kind of came together pretty quickly. And even if you thought it was a good trade or a bad trade in hindsight, the guy who brought DeMar DeRozan to Sacramento was gone in half a season with DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
Right. So it was putting a Band-Aid on a leaky faucet. It was over at that point. So even the DeMar DeRozan trade now wasn't as big of a deal as we probably made it out to be at the time.
As far as looking at the glass half full and that perspective for the De'Aaron Fox trade, we're going to open up the phone lines, 916-339-1140, if you want to be a part of this glass half full approach. It's pretty obvious, right? And this is what I have written down. Malik Monk takes a leap. Keegan Murray takes a leap. LaVine gives you the same production. Domantas Sabonis is still that dude, and the drama is now gone. Everybody who's there wants to be a part of it. Everyone is on one accord, and they rock and roll. I mean, the glass half full is that the glass half full fully gets there if they do make a move and add to the roster, because the roster still needs help. I mean, Kevin Huerter wasn't playing very much, but now you don't even have Kevin Huerter and the mirage that he could get hot. So I think the glass half full is everything I just said. They go out and get another piece. Maybe that's in the offseason. Maybe that's not even now. And you're in a little bit of a better position than you would have been with De'Aaron Fox. I think that the glass half full is, hey, Zach LaVine keeps doing what he's doing, stays healthy. Malik takes a leap with his production and his usage going up. Keegan Murray, now his production and usage is going to go up because De'Aaron did have the ball a lot when he wanted. And you have DeMar DeRozan continuing to do his thing. You go out, get a piece, and you go into next season with a clean slate, no looming extensions or drama or anything like that, with a Doug Christie extremely motivated. The team is extremely motivated, and you go out there and you snag yourself a 4 seed. Boom. I think that's the glass half full approach. I think that's what it is. And I think it's realistic. I do. Maybe it's 5 seed, but I do think it's realistic.
It's possible. I mean, they still have Domantas Sabonis. They still have Keegan Murray, who will likely sign an extension this offseason. They still have Malik Monk under contract. It's not out of the question. It's just a matter of how good do you believe this team built around Domantas Sabonis is going to be. And of course, Domantas Sabonis makes players around him better. That's the whole point center thing about DeMar DeRozan, or about Domantas Sabonis. And maybe they tinker with the roster a little bit come this offseason. But if you're operating under the assumption that those 4 key pieces, I guess you could throw Zach LaVine in there. We'll see how Zach LaVine plays in Sacramento, but you assume that those 4 key pieces are going to be back next year, and they've got a year and a half with this group to figure it out. They won't have a first-round pick this year if they get anywhere in the play-in. So, that part kind of stinks, but you still have Keon Ellis through the end of next season. You still have Keegan on the rookie contract through the end of next season. I think the bet you make, and again, like I said, I wouldn't have made the De'Aaron Fox trade, but now that we're here, the bet they make is this is the group. DeRozan can leave after 2026 if he's not, if he's still on the roster after the trade deadline.
Right.
DeRozan's player option means he's under contract through 26. Keegan's rookie contract 26. Keon under contract through 26. You give it the rest of this season and next year to see how this group is going to go. And if they end up in the 5 seed, awesome. It means it was a somewhat of a success. They made back some of what they lost by trading De'Aaron Fox.
On the other side, all right, we'll get to the glass half empty approach and how could this thing go south for the Sacramento Kings. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead.
Get your Kings fix all season long right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, reminding you that every deal at Folsom Lake Ford is a slam dunk. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, including America's best-selling truck for over 47 years, Ford F-Series, plus a huge selection of Broncos, Bronco Sports, and all of Ford's award-winning SUVs at FolsomLakeFord.com. Listen, I know a great play when I see one. And if you want to save on a new Ford, you got to drive the lane straight to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with 0 down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest financing. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. So hurry to Folsom Lake Ford, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they're my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop them online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
With NBA League Pass, keeping up with the league is as easy as NBA. Watch from multiple angles and in your preferred language. Wait, really? Oh, new guy, huh? Yeah, you get so many live games, recaps, and highlights. So the court is my oyster. It's your Pelican, Wolf, Bull, Nugget, Big Blue Dog, whatever you want it to be. NBA League Pass, your home for streaming hoops. Only select out-of-market games available and local blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. One more hour left with you as we break all of this down. A lot of people. The Warriors are attempting to, they're connected to everyone, including Zion and including Kevin Durant, which is confusing because I'm not really sure why the Warriors or why the Suns would move on from Kevin Durant. I don't know, unless they just decide to go in a different direction, and the Rockets don't want to move any of their young talent unless they're in love with Devin Booker. So the Suns are either going to go all in or just blow it all up within the next 48 hours.
Well, also the other part of it is, does Kevin Durant want to go back to Golden State?
Haven't heard that.
What's the point of trading for Kevin Durant if he doesn't want to play with Draymond and Steph? Like, why would that be a thing? We got to get the nostalgia tour together, bust out the old 35 jerseys. The Warriors are going full nostalgia. We may not win anything, but we're going to sell.
So I don't know if they would lose Kuminga and Wiggins or just one or the other. Let's say they keep, I'm trying to think of the scarier option is if they keep Wiggins, in my opinion. But I feel like that, but I also feel like that wouldn't happen because of Wiggins' money. You have to move Wiggins' money. Yeah,
Kevin Durant makes $51 million. So it's definitely, you have to include Schroeder and Wiggins. That's for sure. I'm going to toss Kyle Anderson in there too. Now we're getting close.
So I guess the point of me bringing this up is, let's say Kevin Durant gets moved right now to the Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, Schroeder, and whoever else. Are you scared of the Warriors the same way you were scared of the Warriors? What was that? 6 years ago now? Is that hitting the same? Kevin Durant joining Steph Curry? Am I being disrespectful there?
Well, no, because they're not going to win anything. Not with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and Pajemski.
And Quentin Post doing his thing. And Guy Santos.
Look, I'm trying to make the money work here. It's a convoluted, complicated way to get there, but it is possible. It's just like, it just doesn't seem like it's beneficial for like anybody involved here.
Yeah. So that is also happening. Getting back to the Kings and the glass half empty situation. This is what I have down. The Kings are just here for some fun. That's what we spent the 12 o'clock hour talking about. The Kings just are here to not stink, right? De'Aaron takes another step, and you see De'Aaron locked in more than you've ever seen him before. Every single night, this dude is just fully engaged. And that would just tick people off, I think, because that's an effort thing, right? He's not going to be better. And maybe he will be better playing with Victor Wembanyama, but how De'Aaron plays, you know, he's going to get the looks that he's going to get no matter what. And Zach LaVine, obviously, what he is doing in Chicago this season is a bit of a mirage. Keegan Murray doesn't take that step. He ends up just being who he is. Malik Monk isn't able to step up with the new attention that he's getting from defenses and DeMar DeRozan. I mean, I don't know if it's DeMar DeRozan just getting older or DeMar DeRozan wanting out, right? That's kind of the glass half empty approach here. So, you know, when I look at that, even the glass half empty approach to me isn't terrible unless they continue to fight it, right? If the glass half empty thing happens, let's say everything bad that I just say could happen does happen, well, then you just rebuild. And you, again, I know that's a triggering word to some people, but you say, hey, we had a couple competitive years. We're still looking for our generational guy. I think what would be tough is this draft is the one where you might have that guy, but it's, hey, it didn't work out. We had a good run, and now we're going to rebuild. And then the question becomes, from the 279 is saying, do you trust the front office to rebuild? And by that time, I do think it would probably be a different front office.
Well, I know we're in the glass half empty, but to give you just a dash of the glass being full, if they do, for some weird reason, hit in the lot, like say they're a play-in team, they don't make it out of the play-in, they get the 14 best odds in the draft, and they win the lottery somehow, they still get to keep their pick this year. So
right.
It's only top 12 protection on it is the deal. But to your point, I just think it's going to be upsetting to me personally if it's like you messed up my feel good of the Beam team, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, the guys you were selling us on were going to be the ones who ended the drought, and we're going to turn the franchise around and we're going to compete for years and years. If you messed up my feel good for a year, for an extra 3 months of nothing, right? Like if they're still the 10 seed in April, what was the point of trading De'Aaron Fox? Because you thought you weren't going to be able to get Zach LaVine this offseason in a trade?
Well, I would disagree with that because based on what we saw these last couple games, if De'Aaron was going to do this, you couldn't go through another 3 months of this.
Well, that was more just the organization deciding to make De'Aaron available before the trade deadline. The reporting would have never happened if they hadn't taken trades in the first place. But if they had come out and said adamantly, we are not trading De'Aaron Fox, none of this would have happened, right? So they made the decision to part with De'Aaron Fox.
I still think, honestly, I do still think there's more to that story. I'm not trying to give the front office full benefit of the doubt. It's just weird. And maybe the more to the story is simply how bad that initial meeting went. And again, them, like you said, the problem is you tried to make a move that should have netted you a better return, and it didn't. That's really the issue.
Yes, and they tried. I would assume the only reason they took Fox trades in the air of silence over the last week was to see if they could get that trade before the deadline. And then once it got out there, it became the agent trying to control the narrative, the De'Aaron Fox camp trying to control the narrative, and their hands were tied, and they only had one team they could trade him to. I believe when Yosi was on earlier, he made the point this was more like a free agent signing type of trade than it was a true trade of value. There was only one team they could trade him to. The Spurs kind of felt like said, you can take it or leave it. We're not even going to include Keldon in the deal. You can either just take what we got or leave it.
We'll take our chances in free agency.
And the Kings kind of said, we'll take our chances with getting this new group together with 3 months to run before the offseason, where then they only have 1 year to figure it out, because by 2026, like I said earlier, Keegan's contract will be no longer cheap. He'll be making $20 million a year. Keon Ellis will be a free agent. DeMar DeRozan can hit free agency. Technically, Zach LaVine can hit free agency, but I don't think he's opting out of $50 million a year in 2027. So all of this is building up to 2026 is when they're going to have to make a pivot. And by the way, Monty's contract also expires in 2026. So it's just going to, from the glass half empty, I'm just going to be angry if they messed up the feel good for 3 months of trying to see if this core can work together.
Yeah. And look, the way I see this whole thing playing out is that there will be moments. I think that there are enough competitors, and of course, barring health, there will be moments on this team, and it's more so about the hole that they have to dig themselves out of, and that is what I'm more so worried about than in the time to to put this thing together. They had essentially just gotten to the point where they were understanding how to play with DeMar. Now, DeMar knows how to play with Zach LaVine, but you still have to add the other players into that fray. So I'm looking here, Kyle. We wake up this morning, and the Kings are actually the 9 seed. Okay. Kings are the 9 seed. So as of today, if it ended today, the Suns, who are a complete mess, the Suns would be coming to Sacramento, and then the Kings would face the losers of Timberwolves, Mavericks, who I think, I don't know who that would be, to be completely honest with you. Right now, looking at everything, the Kings are a half game back of the 8 seed, and that all-important 6 seed, they are 3 games back of the Clippers. There's a lot of time, but that's also tough.
Well, think about how
that's also tough.
Think about how good they had to play just to get back in the conversation, right? It took a 7-game win streak and Doug Christie going, 11-3 in his first 14 games as a coach just to even get them back in the conversation of being in the 7, 8, 9 position.
Mm-hmm.
And they tricked off 2 games and they were back in the 10 seed all of a sudden. It's like, it's so hard. And also just looking at the West, I mean, I think the top 6 is going to pull away from the pack.
No, don't say that.
I mean,
don't say
the Clippers just got Kawhi back, and they're like 8-2 in games Kawhi has played.
Yeah.
The Lakers just got Luka. The Nuggets, we all agree they're the second best team.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. I have said 6 is still possible, but these teams, they're not going to admit it. And even the Timberwolves with no Julius Randle with that groin situation, I think 7 and down are shooting for 7.
Yeah.
I think it would be overwhelming. You ever look at your to-do list and it's just so overwhelming you don't end up doing anything. So it's just you got to section things off. Like I have a huge to-do list before we leave on Friday, and I'm trying to section things off into things to do each day, or I'm just going to sit on the couch and do nothing. I think if the Kings sit there and try to tell themselves, and maybe this happened a little bit last season, but they were more, I would say they were more so in the mix last season at this time. But if you sit there and say, we can catch the Lakers, there's just a lot more pressure. If you say, hey guys, I think the goal is winning, you're in, and get the 7 seed is what we're shooting for. We're right there in the mix. If we get hot, we get hot. But you start trying to, and I know this is that overused term of game by game, or, take every play a step at a time. I honestly think that's where they're at right now.
Especially when we all believe the Sacramento Kings are a worse team today than they were on Sunday. And I know some people in the chat are going...
I don't know about that. We're going to see.
Hold on. Some people are going to say, you don't know, Zach LaVine's never played. Monty McNair doesn't even believe the Sacramento Kings are a better team today than they were yesterday. That's why they got all those draft picks. They don't even believe the Kings are a better team.
Well, they got all the draft picks because that's De'Aaron Fox's value.
Yes, so they got less value in return because they chose to take draft picks instead of win now pieces. So maybe Zach LaVine will come in and they'll play better. I'm not saying that's
we don't know, but we got to get to the other side. But Kyle, leverage matters. Okay, and the Spurs kind of had them by the you-know-what because De'Aaron saying, I'm only going to the Riverwalk.
So what does that mean? That they are not as good because they don't have De'Aaron Fox. All of that is to say, everyone...
But that doesn't mean Monty doesn't... That means that Monty was in a tough spot, though.
Sure, but they did not get better. Mm-hmm. They got future draft capital and a player who might be as good as De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter, but they don't believe that because they wouldn't have done the trade for draft picks if they believed they were getting better in the short term.
Well, I think they were I think we will know what they think about this team by the time the trade deadline ends. If they try to take another swing, they think they could be cooking with something. If they don't, then I think they're just going to see what happens in the offseason, and we'll see if we'll see if I'm not going to, come for anybody's job here, but we'll see who is running the team at that point in time. So I want to do a fun little segment, if you will, on the other side. Sometimes some of the most famous groups in the world, they lost their lead singer, and they had to change their look, and they still had some good hits. let's talk about some of those groups and how they revamp themselves and how the Kings can have some new hits with a new lead singer. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Hi, I'm Justin Gingery from the law firm of Gingery, Hammer & Associates. When you have been injured by the fault of another, you will want advice you can trust. If you know an attorney you can trust, I hope you call that person. But if you don't, please call me. I promise I will be the attorney you can trust, along with my entire team. I have been helping accident survivors recover compensation for their injuries for 25 years, and we can help you. There is no charge for calling. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
How can the Kings revamp themselves? You know, I was doing some thinking about some of the bands and some of the groups that I came up listening to. And if the approach is that the Kings are your favorite band or your favorite group, it might feel like they lost their lead singer. And in some situations, you've seen groups get new lead singers. You've seen groups turn one of their current singers into lead singers. And I'm looking here and I think about the Temptations. Obviously, you had David Ruffin. But once David Ruffin, that situation went the way it went, the Temptations, they still kept rolling. They've had multiple lead singers. Now, you could argue those were their best days, but they had some hits too. Look at New Edition. Obviously, New Edition. Bobby Brown says, I'm going off to do my own thing. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, after Bobby Brown left the group, they had one of their biggest hits in Can You Stay in the Rain? So I'm not saying that the Kings are going to be better without De'Aaron Fox, but what I am saying is that we've seen groups and bands before see new success with new lead singers. Okay, you got Domantas Sabonis. He looks like a dude that would be on the bass. And now Malik Monk takes lead vocals alongside Zach LaVine. I think this is a pretty good band. Will it be as good or better than De'Aaron Fox's Kings? I do not know. But we have seen this before where you think, oh, man, they lost Bobby Brown. They ain't doing nothing. Yes, they are. Oh, man, they lost you-know-who. They're not doing nothing. Yes, they are. So help me out, Sacramento. The other groups that have been out there who have lost their lead singer but got a new lead singer to replace them and kept doing their thing. Already starting to come in. 925 said the Bee Gees, Andy Gibb left, and they still made hits. Keep them coming in. All the different names. Kyle's going to queue up Can You Stand the Rain when he gets the chance. All right? There are a lot of ways to look at this thing. We got calls coming in too. I'm trying to think of other groups here. Those were the two that I thought about at the break off the top of my head. But other groups here where the lead singer left to do their own thing. Now, there's some bad stories, don't get me wrong. Justin Timberlake left, and I don't think NSYNC did anything after that. Okay, a couple different groups.
What do you mean? NSYNC did that Progressive commercial a couple of years ago.
Without Justin Timberlake, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, and yes, Beyonce, we get it, Destiny's Child. Let's go. Come on, Kyle. And it's raining today either way. Just wait for it to drop in. This is nice, man. Bobby Brown wants to do his thing. Kyle just told me it's instrumental, so it's not going to drop. Johnny Gill. Thank you, Dwayne Baker. Johnny Gill. You know, Bobby went to do his own thing, but New Edition was still rocking and rolling. Come on. Let's go. 12 says AC/DC as well. And I'm just trusting y'all. Journey, Van Halen.
The Journey one is kind of crazy. Like, they just found another lead singer like in the Philippines or something.
So, you found it now. Aaron says, cool it now, Allen. There you go. That was, Bobby was there now, but there's a world where this thing works out. There's a world where you get that new lead singer and you keep making some hits. Hey, out there. You might be sad that you lost De'Aaron Fox, but we got some new for you called Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is what you call him.
Sacramento.
And you have now entered Sacramento. And you're going to see a 360 dunk that you've never seen before.
I don't think he can do those anymore.
Can I interest you in 40% from three-point range? You haven't seen that before. We becoming boys to men? That's what Aaron is asking? Maybe. From Miss Rob, Monk is a true point guard. I don't care what anybody says.
Shooting a career-high 51% from the field.
How do you like that, baby? Now that De'Aaron Fox has gone to the Riverwalk, Domantas Sabonis and Keegan Murray gonna step their game on up.
17 points in the first quarter for Keegan last night.
Keegan gonna take a leap. Domantas Sabonis still got his head coach, DC.
Still top 10 in efficiency rating.
We want to talk to you, baby. Goodbye, De'Aaron Fox. We got our new lead singer. We gonna keep this going. We gonna have a good time out here in Sacramento. You can go to Area 51. We like Sacramento just fine.
Most points per game since his All-Star season for Sacramento.
Angelo says Bobby wasn't the lead. Ralph was. Yeah, but you get my point, Angelo.
So is Domantas Sabonis.
Let's not get caught up in semantics. That is a great call because Domantas Sabonis probably is Ralph, to be honest with you. But Bobby got everybody in the seats.
Devin Carter has so much potential.
Not sure about that one.
Let's just believe.
We're going to believe. On the other side, we keep the conversation going. Oh, yeah, there was another trade. Luka Doncic, and we have some updates on Jimmy Butler. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all day freshness.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With over 500 new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CRV, HRV, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Tom's Watch Bar has the best happy hour in Sacramento, starting with $5 specials all day, every day. Plus select $7 appetizers and $12 entrees with 360-degree viewing and game day vibes that match being at the game. Tom's Watch Bar is the ultimate game day experience for sports fans.
The good news? Now that you've lost the excess weight, InShape Fitness is here to help you maintain your new look with everything from fitness classes to full-length mirrors to admire your new self. We are InShape. You are ready. Join online today at InShape.com.
This 49er Injury Report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884. You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's Broken Spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Some other names coming in. Sublime, 530 says Sublime got a new lead singer. Kept rocking and rolling. People keep bringing up Van Halen as well.
Why do you think I'm playing this music?
That's right. I knew it. Allen says, love me some Johnny Gill, as we talked about the new edition change when Bobby Brown went on his own. You know, so there are a lot of examples of teams teams, yeah. Banta saying Journey. A lot of groups have powered through adding someone new to the group or losing a lead singer and still being successful, still putting out some hits. Is it ever going to be the same? Probably not, but it'll be a little bit different, and you'll have new memories from the new version of the group.
Well, I'll also say to each person their own. For me, there's nothing that group can do that will ever make it feel the same as before because of what the Beam Team meant to me personally. The Beam Team was my first year working in sports. I loved it so much. It was so cool to just be around that in the end of the longest playoff drought in NBA history. So they'll never be the Beam Team, no matter how good Sacramento ends up being. It's never going to be the Beam Team, but that doesn't mean they can't maybe make the top 6 next year. mean, we talked about it earlier. It's going to be hard to climb out of the play-in this year because not only are the top 6 now pulling away from the group from where we were a week ago, but Kawhi just got healthy. The Lakers just got Luka. Maybe you could argue Houston or Memphis will fall a little bit, but they've got like a 8-game cushion on the rest of the pack. So I think the top 6 right now is probably going to be the top 6 by the end of the season. But hey, if this year ends in a play-in, maybe we get to the first round of the playoffs. I think after firing a head coach, trading your star player, if they could make it out of the play-in, I think we would chalk this up to a very successful season.
Well, I think that I look at the Western Conference the same way I look at golf, right? And when you're out there golfing, depending on how good or how not good you are, it's all about giving yourself a chance and not burying yourself with, but if you want to shoot well on a day, you know that you're probably limited to between 1 and granted, everything is relatively speaking, you're limited to about 1 to 3 double bogeys. If you want to have a day, right? If you are going to have a decent day, I would say you're about 1 to 5 double bogeys. And obviously anything worse than a double bogey, you're going to just bury yourself. So you have your 1 to 5 double bogeys that you're allowed. And then besides that, it's bogey golf, it's pars, and maybe you luck out on a par 3 here or there and you get a birdie. And that's how you're going to shoot pretty well. But you have to limit your double bogeys if you want to shoot well for that day. And again, relatively speaking, I'm talking as myself as a golfer. Some of y'all don't know what a double bogey is because you're that good. That's how I look at the Western Conference. The Kings came out and just shot a bunch of double bogeys. You could argue some triple bogeys. Then the winning streak, they had a couple birdies, right? Some par and some birdies. But now where you're at and from where you're digging yourself out from, you're not allowed really any more bogeys, and you're definitely not allowed any more double bogeys. And I just don't think there's enough time for the Kings realistically to make up for that. And the difference in golf is that you're playing against yourself, right? In the situation that we're dealing with as far as the Western Conference, there's other teams. So now this is what De'Aaron Fox was talking about in December, where he says we don't control our own destiny. Now you actually don't. You unless you go undefeated. And even then, the Clippers and how they're rolling and things like that, you need help now. That's where you're at. And what they've learned from this, it's what we already knew from last season. They just did the same thing. You cannot bury yourself early. You have to give yourself a chance. And kudos to the Los Angeles Lakers. They gave themselves a chance. Kudos to the Los Angeles Clippers. They gave themselves a chance. They never went on a terrible losing streak or anything like that. They never buried themselves. They might have scuffled a little bit, but they controlled it. The Kings couldn't control it. The Warriors dang sure couldn't control it. The Suns went on a terrible stretch. They weren't able to keep their head above water. They went double bogey, triple bogey, things like that. And now they're stuck trying to dig themselves out of the Batcave. And you have other teams kind of stepping on your feet as you're holding on to the clip or stepping on your fingers. So that's the problem here.
I think the Clippers one is the most impressive because they essentially replaced Paul George with Derek Jones Jr. and have somehow not even missed a beat. And Kawhi hadn't even been playing up until like 3 weeks ago. So that's one of those that's like, hey, how do you retool? One, having an owner who's willing to pay double apron for a team that's the 6th seed in the West. But right. Two, you have that ability to just improve defensively. Norman Powell took that leap. That's the glass half full scenario you could point to for the Sacramento Kings is what's happening with the Clippers right now is that despite De'Aaron Fox being a good defensive player, they somehow make an improvement on the defensive side of the floor, which I know we didn't have Zach last night, but the Timberwolves went basically 5 minutes without scoring a bucket in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Which is something to hang your hat on. And it was the reason why the Sacramento Kings won that game.
From the 279, I think we've looked this up before, Kyle, but I don't know where the 279 is. But this 279 has been texting in all day, just very, very negative. Not glass half empty, just it's going to be horrible. We'll break our own playoff drought. That's the 209, and it's been a lot of that all day long. Where's the 209?
209 or
279?
279 is just the new. They ran out of 916s, so 279. If you
Is
got
Sacramento?
If you got a new phone number, that's your.
Oh,
Sacramento.
so you new to this 279?
Or they just changed their
No.
phone.
You new to this 279. We'll break our own playoff drought. Well, you can choose to look at it that way. And if that ends up being the case, well, we'll figure it out. But for now, I think a lot of Kings fans have hope. Okay. What were your options? Again, a lot is going to come out, but the idea of De'Aaron Fox wanting to be here, I don't think it's a lie. I would never accuse De'Aaron Fox of lying. Okay. And what he said in his statement. But what I will say is that going into this season, I don't know how realistic it was for the Kings to keep De'Aaron Fox. And when you have that meeting in December, before you've really played a lot of games, now the roster needs help, yeah. But when you have that meeting in December, before the team has really played, at that point, what? 30 games together, healthy because of all the injury? It seems like you kind of were planning on doing that no matter what. And for the Kings to have the you-know-whats to fire that head coach that they knew De'Aaron liked tells me that they didn't think that meeting went well. Tells me that there's some posturing going on. We'll find all this out. And we've given a lot of grief to the front office. But I don't know how realistic it was to keep De'Aaron Fox. If in December you're saying we don't control our own destiny and we're sending out, my camp is headed up to say, what are we doing here after not signing the extension?
And then you fired your coach 5 days later.
That's what I'm saying. So you can look at this negatively. I'm not going to sit here and say, at least you're not a Mavericks fan, but kind of, at least you're not a Mavericks fan. De'Aaron Fox is not Luka Doncic.
At least the Mavericks have a trophy to remember Luka Doncic by.
What trophy is that?
The Western Conference Championship last year.
Come on now.
They were in the finals.
So what? No one cares about that. You think Mavericks fans care about that? At least we had a finals run with Luka.
They're happy they went to the finals.
If anything, it makes it worse, no?
No.
Yes.
They went to the finals last year. I don't care how you get to the finals. If you get swept out, fine. They went to the NBA Finals last year. If Sacramento went to the NBA Finals, that would be the first time in literally 73 years.
But that's different, Kyle. That's different because the Mavericks, I mean, they've won a big one. They've won a big one.
If the Sacramento Kings went to the finals next year and then traded Domantas Sabonis for Vucevic and recreated the Sacramento Bulls, everyone would be happy they went to the finals.
That's different, though. That's different because, first of all, I don't think that's true because I think Sacramento fans would be just as upset.
It doesn't make it worse because they went to the finals before.
I think it does make it worse because you're sitting there thinking we could have been doing this year after year.
Yes, which comes back to the original point of that trade was indefensible and possibly malpractice, what the Mavericks did yesterday.
Nobody is denying that. I saw Rob Pelinka thank the Mavericks and their front office for working with them. And I was listening to Dave this morning just about some of the, I guess, facial expressions Rob Pelinka may have been making, right? And just being able to hold it in and convincing. And I didn't watch the clip because obviously we're doing the show, but Rob Pelinka spoke on convincing the Mavericks not to bring anyone else into the conversation. I mean, it's insane.
He talked them down from Dalton Connect, which is crazy. The original deal was apparently both Laker first-round picks, Max Christie, Dalton Connect, and Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
And they talked down the Mavericks from Dalton Connect and the second first-round pick, which is just insane.
Yeah. So, again, you can remember your times with De'Aaron Fox. I think that, yes, you wish that you got more back for him, but you were kind of between a rock and a hard place with De'Aaron say, this thing is completely different if De'Aaron was willing to go to other places. And, we'll see what happens with Zach LaVine. There's a new lead singer. The new lead singer could be Zach LaVine, could be Malik Monk. But I do think that there's some hits still left in that piano or that keyboard or that garage band for the Sacramento Kings. Whitey Gleason knows his way around a guitar. Maybe he can help us. Whitey Gleason is a perfect person to help us with the bands that got a new lead singer. And we will talk to Whitey Gleason in about 3 minutes. So don't go anywhere. We close out the show and hand you on over to the Drive Guys. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local, but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hey, Sacramento, it's time to party. Join us for the ultimate big game watch party at Mix Downtown, hosted by Sacktown Sports on Sunday, February 9th. Feast on Mix's all-you-can-eat taco and nacho bar and big game bites while watching the biggest football game of the year. Catch all the action on Mix's large projection screens and HD TVs. Doors open at 2 p.m. Kickoff is at 3. Mix Downtown, located at 16th and L Streets in Sacramento. It's 21 and over, so bring your crew and let's make it a game day to remember. For details, visit mixdowntown.net.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
Please, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
reeling in the refund.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-887-1010. 800-887-1010.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Your one-stop Honda shop.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Joined by Kevin, Michael, Whitey, Gleason. Whitey, can you help us out with any other groups? So we have Van Halen.
Yeah.
New Edition. The Temptations.
Stone Temple Pilots.
They lost their, and I don't know if it has to be
a couple.
Yeah, I don't know if it has to be lead singer, because somebody said, well, Bobby Brown wasn't the lead singer of New Edition, but he was very, very important.
Sure. Stone Temple Pilots, Queen, didn't they just they have some fan who sent in a video and he's the lead singer now for Queen?
I think Journey does that.
Maybe it's Journey.
Journey found someone, I think they were on tour in the Philippines or something like that. And there was someone who literally did an impersonation of the lead singer, and they made that person the singer.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So De'Aaron Fox, their lead singer, huh?
And that's what we were talking about. I mean, I think he was, right? Or that's how you would explain it. But is it really Domantas Sabonis? Because it's one of those things where De'Aaron's probably the lead singer, but everybody loves the bass player that sometimes add vocals, and that's Domantas Sabonis.
Do you think the Kings, in order to have a shot at a championship, and I'm not saying they're near that now, but do they have to be one of those very rare teams that wins a championship without a top 10 player? Is that the way they're going to have to do it? Like the 79 Sonics or the Pistons?
Yeah, the Pistons that you hear about all the time. But what's funny about you saying that is they moved on from De'Aaron Fox, and it was the same conversation. We never had this conversation when De'Aaron Fox was here, even though it's the same conversation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's why I think
we had it. Maybe you didn't.
Jay Johnson definitely had them,
because I think that is the De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs thing. I think there is a lot of culpability and responsibility to go around, but I do think De'Aaron was also saying, for who I think I am in this league, we're not going to get in Sacramento what I need.
Yeah.
And that's just, it wasn't going to happen. They would have had to be perfect, because everyone does the Davion Mitchell, that was Trey Murphy, and that was it Şengün?
Yeah.
It was Trey Murphy and Şengün. Those picks were 3 or 4 picks later. It wasn't right after Davion. They were there for you. They were there. They were there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying you hit on everything. You make every right move. What I'm saying is,
what are you saying?
In a small market, you have a small margin of error, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's even smaller when you don't have a top 10 player. We know the only way these small markets win, Milwaukee, Dallas,
draft one.
You have to draft one, and the Kings didn't have that, and the Kings were trying to figure out what to do, and ultimately, did they get the return that I think we all would have liked? No, but it wasn't a Luka Doncic deal. He's not Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm,
so I think that you move on because De'Aaron admitted he's not that guy, and the Kings understood that he's not that guy.
I'm starting to suspect, I don't actually know, so I'm not hinting at anything.
I like where this
I'm
is
starting to suspect they might have gotten what we would consider more, but they really wanted Zach LaVine.
Okay.
And they wanted him a long time.
And that's fine. It's just when they tried to get him before, the contract made it such you can only get Zach LaVine if he's your number 2, because he's making 30% of your salary cap.
Yeah.
And once De'Aaron Fox was ready to move on, they could add Zach LaVine as a number 2. I think it just happened to be circumstance that DeMar DeRozan was already here before Zach LaVine. But the thing that makes it not the Sacramento Bulls is DeMar DeRozan is making $20 million less than he was in Chicago. So you have more room to play with building around the former Bulls of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
What's your excitement level, Whitey? What's your excitement level for the new look Kings? Are you going to be in the building tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. What is your excitement
level? Out there, of course.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
Yeah, it has been.
Right? I mean, the last time we were out there, De'Aaron Fox was a king.
Yeah, I know. I remember Allen.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. What is your excitement level for this new look Kings team?
Well, it's very high, but I'm maybe answering that differently than you're asking. I think it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. I don't know if it's going to work or, how it's going to go.
Right.
But tomorrow night, I can't wait. It's going to be like, I don't know if we've ever seen anything quite like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think that you look at Zach LaVine and, I think nobody is worried about the fit. I am a little bit interested in how it works with Zach LaVine and Malik Monk because, they like to get their shots up. And I think DeMar will understand what role to play. But it's just going to be some hoopers hooping.
Yeah.
That's how it's just some hoopers hooping.
De'Aaron Fox he took more shots per game than Zach LaVine's taken, and he had a higher usage rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a criticism. That's a fact. So I think for people that wonder, wow, are there enough shots for Zach LaVine? There's more than enough.
Right.
I think we saw last night there were times when Malik, and he had a fine game, but
23 shots, 25.
He kind of had to take the offense on his shoulders, and presumably with Zach LaVine, there'd be less pressure on him to do that. So.
And this is a highly motivated team. I think, and I won't speak for you, Whitey, but it was pretty clear that you could use the word coasting, you could use the word checked out, but De'Aaron Fox, those last couple games, once everything rebroke, the leverage conversation that we've had back and forth, it had to happen. That's why I don't think, and Kyle and I went back and forth with, hey, why couldn't you wait till the end of the season? Because I don't think you could sell this as a product. Not from what I saw in Philly and definitely from what I saw in OKC. I don't think you could sell that. It was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing, and I think it bothered De'Aaron Fox. It was bringing him down. There was so much negative energy. It was just like the Kings looked right before they fired Mike Brown. Mm-hmm. All of the dysfunction was dragging them all down.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting paid a lot of money. They're playing basketball. It shouldn't happen. Well, it happens. They're human beings.
Right.
And then they got over that, and then it happened again. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it's good that they made the clean break.
Yeah, and me and you, we haven't even gotten to talk about the Luka thing, the Jimmy Butler thing. Your Warriors are after Kevin Durant again, and no, they're yours. And a lot of that. Do you think this is either going to be one of the craziest trade deadlines we've ever seen in NBA history?
It already has been, hasn't it? Seriously.
Just because of Luka by itself?
Might be the biggest trade ever.
So you're not – so Kyle was kind of defending the four-letter network because I said I'll go home, I'll fire up First Take for ideas. Sometimes they have some good stuff.
That's on you.
Well, that is on me.
Don't blame Kyle for
that. No. And I fast-forwarded 2 hours, Whitey. They did 2 hours. The show is 2 hours. They did 2 hours on Luka AD, and it was Monday, but they did 2 hours on Luka AD, and they did about 5 to 7 minutes on Myles Garrett. No mention. And I said, you know what? This is because Kyle said, "Oh, we haven't talked about the Luka thing." They're talking about everywhere else. The disrespectful. Yeah. Can we get 5 minutes? 5 minutes.
Since he didn't do a great job outlining it, my point was, if the De'Aaron Fox trade, the easy stance is to say the national media never talks about Sacramento.
That's
and my point was, on that day, totally fair to not talk about Zach LaVine and De'Aaron Fox getting traded when Luka Doncic just got traded for Anthony Davis.
Come on, Whitey. Whose side you on?
The problem is if you're going to the four-letter network when you need basketball information, then I can't help you.
No. I get home and I go through the gambit, right? Yeah. I have a bunch recorded. And, I'll hit all the usual suspects.
To Kyle's point, what do you think they're going to talk about? We know what they do.
No, I'm saying you can give me 7 minutes.
That's not going to happen.
It's Area 51. It's Wemby. It's the alien.
It's Luka Doncic getting traded for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, you did 2 hours.
Maybe the greatest or biggest trade ever. Not the biggest trade ever.
You did 4 hours.
One of those players being traded by themselves would be the biggest trade since what? The Kawhi trade? Maybe the last Anthony Davis trade?
And now you're disrespecting De'Aaron.
If your Warriors get Durant, it's going to be wall-to-wall.
If your Warriors.
Durant back with the Warriors.
Would you be? I asked Kyle, would you be scared of the Warriors? They get Durant and lose Wiggins?
Scared of them? You mean like from the Kings standpoint?
Just in general. Should the NBA be shaking?
No. No.
They're going to do the nostalgia tour together.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? And maybe this is a reach here, like Stretch Armstrong. The Fantastic Four, the new trailer came out. I don't know.
Stretch Armstrong's not in the Fantastic Four.
Who's Stretch Armstrong?
Reed Richards.
Oh,
is a
that's right.
fantastic-
Is Stretch Armstrong the one with the goop that comes out of his arm when you break it?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, Stretch.
I can't help you either with that.
So
sounds like Stretch Armstrong.
Now I forgot where I was going.
It's a stretch. It's a stretch, but
now I remember. I remember
but
where I was going.
Spider-Man is Superman's best buddy.
That's Mr.
not true,
Fantastic.
Alan.
Thank you, Ash, on the Sack Chat. My nerdism is failing me. Now I remember what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You know who could look
good.
at this as disrespectful? If I'm OKC, am I seeing all this movement and saying they basically think that we're to be had or we could be had?
They don't care.
No, I think is
They
that a
don't
reach?
care about that.
So that's Stretch Armstrong, like Fantastic
the
Four.
goop and the goop is coming out.
And the goop. No.
Yeah.
In Stretch Armstrong, I know my other millennials remember, you would stretch the arm, and then when the arm broke, goop came out.
Yes.
You know this song?
I don't.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
Jay, is he playing? Whitey says he don't know this song. All right. What a show.
He says he might.
What a show. I know you're messing with me, Whitey. You're not going to get me this time. Thank you to all of our callers. Thank you all to all of our texters. Thank you to Yosi Goslin of the thirdapron.com. Go check out his work. Go check out our interview on sacktownsports.com, on YouTube, and on the Sacktown Sports app. Thank you to Kyle. Great work as always. Drive Guys coming up next. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. Until tomorrow, secure the bag like the bee.
Gotta go. The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown.